Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the ASL. It's time for Group A. This is going to be an incredible group with an extremely stacked Terran lineup. Scan, Light, and Barracks have been pulled into a group with Soulkey, made the last-minute switch, pulling Scan into his group, and now it's almost all Terran. And the path is very clear for Soulkey. He just wants to beat down on these poor Terran boys and have an easy path to the round of 8. Is that how it's going to shake out? What do you think, Xun? How is this going to go?
I mean, I do imagine that, unfortunately, as much as we would like him to get through, I don't think Scan is going to be able to rise to the challenge of taking out someone like Soulkey. Maybe, though, just maybe he can somehow do really good in the Terran versus Terran series in the losers bracket after getting taken down by Soulkey. Maybe he can fight for his life against Light and Barracks here. I don't know, though. My head is telling me that it's got to be Soulkey and Barracks maybe getting through here, even though, like, I would like to say that Barracks wouldn't necessarily usually be able to beat someone like Light in a TVT. I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like Barracks is very capable of dismantling someone like Light in a Terran versus Terran right now.
If you guys aren't in the know, if you haven't been watching the SCSL, Barracks has been on the come up and he's played a ton of TVT in that tournament, displaying some insane strong Terran versus Terran play. Just in general, he is looking fantastic. Scan also not doing as well in SCSL, but he played some great games in the first round of the ASL. So let's put all that aside. Straight up predictions here, Xun. You're calling it for Soulkey and Barracks?
Yeah, I think so. Soulkey and Barracks.
I thought I was going to have a controversial opinion here, but I was going to say Barracks makes it through as well. Soulkey and Barracks. I know a lot of you guys out there are like, what? Really? Light getting taken down by Barracks? But this is a real possibility, guys.
Yeah. Now, Light is a very reactive style Terran versus Terran. He does have a very deep understanding of Terran and Terran versus Terran especially. It's just that he is not of the same caliber of execution as some of these up-and-coming guys like Barracks. Barracks just executes better. It used to be that he was reliant on Light for a lot of his insight and strategy, but it does seem like Barracks' decision-making is way better than it used to be.
We were wondering during the SCSL, is it a situation where Light says, I taught you everything you know, but not everything I know. It really does seem like he filled in Barracks on everything he knows, and Barracks is a completely well-rounded player now, and so strong as a result of that practice under Light. It's incredible, his development this season.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of overwhelming how much some players like Speed, like Barracks, have been able to improve over recent years. I mean, they've always been quite strong mechanical players, say, and it's just they've never had the insights that someone like Light does, and the really high level decision making that's necessary to play at the absolute highest of echelons of play. But now it does seem like people like Barracks, people like Speed, even Sharp, like they're coming up in the world. They start to understand the game on a similar level now, and they can compete.
Well, being here live in the studio, we'll see if Barracks can keep his head on straight and compete with Light at the highest level. I'm sure it's going to come down to that at the end, really. Probably the final match, Light versus Barracks. We'll see how Scan does, though. Maybe he can pull out some sort of crazy upset.
Yeah. He is the youngest guy in this group. Everyone else is 33 or so. Scan's just a little 31-year-old youngster. Still got a couple of age difference working for him, maybe keeping him youthful enough against these other guys. But honestly, I'm a little bit scared for him. I mean, he's been pretty much the most unluckiest guy in ASL ever. Having to go against Mini on Eclipse game number 1 in round of 24 to break through to the round of 16, and now he's getting Soulkey in game number 1. You see Scan there off to the right of Soulkey, looking pretty calm, actually. I'm kind of happy to see that Scan looks quite composed right now.
Seems like everyone was all smiles during the group selection phase, but all I see is straight-faced Terran players here on stage today.
Yeah, just emotionless robots. This is like what Idra was like back in the day. You just have one emotion that you roll with, and does seem to work out well for the Terran players. Soulkey is probably going to be having an absolute field day with these guys, though. He's only had to prepare for Zerg versus Terran this entire time. It's going to be a very easy layup of a group for him to navigate. That's for sure.
That's the benefit of being the ASL champion, to line things up for yourself. First pick in the groups or in the nomination, and then you get to do that swap at the very end where you can pull a player that you want to fight into your group and push a player you don't want into another group.
Yeah. Basically gives you a little bit of an edge there. Being able to curate your group to quite some degree has really helped players shape their tournament runs. And it definitely is an advantage if you can secure a top 4 spot to get seeded in to the next tournament and get a better run of it. Even if you don't quite win that first time around, you get like a 4th place or whatever. The next time around, being able to curate your groups in the round of 16 and avoid the absolute bloodbath of around 24 best of 1 group stage as well does give you a lot more hope in your tournament lifeline.
It's a very important thing to note as well. This is not all best of 1s, guys. We're going to start out today with a best of 1 between Soulkey and Scan. Then we'll have the best of 1 between Barracks and Light. The winners of those 2 matches will face off in a best of 3. The losers in another best of 3. The winner of the losers and the loser of the winner will fight in the final match. And that'll also be a best of 3. So total, possibly 11 games here, and a lot of TVT is possible as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of lucky that the matchup has evolved as much as it has. Like, if it was how it used to be a few years ago, we'd be kind of crying right now as casters of how like tedious this job will be. But honestly, the matchup is way more dynamic these days. It's not even just a linear vulture war thing going on either. Like, it's actually evolved quite significantly, where you see a lot more early game and mid game timing attacks and players being confident in breaking siege tank lines. And they've really figured out the dropship harass during the mid game phase a lot more as well. So the game is just more action packed and interesting in general as a matchup.
Absolutely. Like 3 to 5 years ago, having the potential for 10 Terran versus Terran games, that's a scary thing for any caster out there. But today, I don't think we're going to be too worried. Potential for a couple of longer ones, but for the most part, we're probably going to have some really aggressive and quick finishers out of these Terran players. Pretty much all the TVT we've watched recently, and we did end up casting a lot of that in the SCSL. Everything was settled by the 20-minute mark or sooner.
Yeah, it just seems much rarer now for both players to just go passive mode and wait to get BCs and 2-on-1 Yamatos and EMP mini games. Like, that's just much rarer of a scenario that we see these days. Sometimes you'll still get one guy going BCs, but the other guy will go mass wraiths or something. It's just a much more dynamic matchup overall. We don't have to worry about the same like slogfest of just waiting for one player to get EMP off on the BCs or not.
If we see a ghost made today, guys, I'm going to be completely shocked. If you watch TVT on stream, basically anybody's stream, people playing on the ladder, they're going to be going to those type of games a lot. Getting into battle cruisers more often than not, and sometimes, you'll see ghosts coming out and medics with restore and all kinds of wacky stuff, EMP and all that good stuff, but here in the ASL, things have gone in the direction of more aggression and quicker games with a lot more dynamic play in the mid game.
Yeah. And we do still sometimes see those Vulture Wars games, but not as often. So you never really know what you're going to get from these guys. I do like Barracks' baggy style, by the way. He's one of the guys rocking it the best here. It does seem to be this like theme in some Asian countries right now where, these skinny guys are wearing these really nice oversized baggy clothes. And I have to say, I'm digging the style.
There's not a lot of expression there. All we could see is the shoes and the pants. Everybody's wearing the same jacket. I'd love to have one of those for my wall, Xun. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh, God, they're so good. They're so good. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to get their hands on those jackets. I mean, just look at them. It's very, very classy, very stylish. I like just the very simple white and black contrast here. It's kind of got that sort of like high school jockey vibe that you get from like those American style jersey jackets, but I think it's really clean. I would love to have one.
I heard that it was available for sale in South Korea and sold out immediately. So I'm unsure if any foreign people ended up getting their hands on them. There must be some, in these Korean households hanging up on walls, I can imagine.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if some scalpers got their hands on those and are selling them for such a big markup right now. I mean, they're just so good looking. Anyone would want to get their hands on those. And I imagine there's going to be a lot of FOMO, people not kind of feeling a bit glum about not getting their hands on one.
Oh, for sure. Guys, we're getting set up here. We're just finishing off the interview. Thank you for joining us in the chat here in the live stream. Saiyan and Xun are presenting today for the StarCastTV English cast. Grab yourself some Korean noodles. Grab yourself some soju. I'm gonna be getting into this shortly. Get yourself a snack. This is probably gonna be a long one. Again, Terran versus Terran has come a long way, but we gotta get ready, Xun. We gotta strap in here.
We definitely need to get ready because, it's gonna get all kinds of crazy up in here. I really do hope that actually Soulkey loses to either Barracks or Light in the winners match. I actually want this to go the distance, and Soulkey have to go to a finals match. We see more Terran versus Zerg, and I would like to see all of these guys play against Soulkey in this series. If we can make that happen, that would be absolutely epic. It might not necessarily transpire though; might have a rematch instead. I'm hoping Scan can at least have a good showing against Soulkey as well. I doubt that Scan is going to win this best of one, but I would love to see him at least perform well.
That would be great. It's actually not possible for him to face everybody tonight. Somebody is not going to be facing off against Soulkey, but definitely Scan is going to get his opportunity here soon. I wonder what he's got in his mind right now. What's his plan going into this match? Because from what I've seen, Soulkey, recently we watched Soulkey versus Rush, Soup Duel series here on this channel. And basically it was Rush reacting to Soulkey the entire time. It seemed like a complete role reversal where usually it's the Zerg player playing reactive. In that series, Soulkey took the mantle. He took the reins and completely controlled the series. And it was completely up to Rush to just figure out what was going on. Soulkey has such a unique style, man. He is so crazy.
Yeah.
Like one of the crazier players that we have.
I think he's just such a solid defensive Zerg that the onus really is on you to make something happen. You have to find the chink in the armor, the transitional point of weakness to exploit. He's just that good of a player that you're kind of forced to do something to him to disrupt him. He can even play from behind and make a very strong showing of it. It's not a guy you want to just let sit back and macro up to defile a tech. You want to really find those tiny 5-second wide timing attack windows to punish him.
Oh, I definitely agree with that, but also Soulkey will throw in some really wild stuff too. Like he will take a base that you just never expect. He'll take a hatchery like right outside your fourth base as the Terran player. He can go ahead and take that. He is so crazy with his strategies, and he will do some wacky busts as well. So you just never quite know what Soulkey's up to, and that's what really makes him so scary. He has the macro aspect. He's super scary in the late game, but he also has those crazy mix-ups that he'll just throw at you and try to get you to react.
Yeah. You do need to have that in your wheelhouse to be a complete player, especially in the ASL. You can't just be one of these guys that macros up and plays solid every single game. You're going to get meta-gamed if you do something like that. So you need to kind of obfuscate your range of play as much as possible and treat this more like a game of poker than a game of chess, and have as much possible range of play to threaten your opponent with. So they're always guessing and always have to min-max and optimize their build orders and adjust for what you could potentially do. You don't want them to just sit back and execute a flawless metagame of what your usual strategy is.
I'm actually thinking this might be a situation where we have Barracks and Soulkey in the winners match, and maybe Barracks can take down Soulkey. I don't know. I haven't watched them play against each other in a long time, but I just know what I've seen out of Barracks. and he is incredibly strong. Maybe he's got something special to pull out against Soulkey.
He is very strong in Terran versus Zerg. He has some of the best mechanics in Terran versus Zerg, it has to be said. He just hasn't had always the best decision making, and that's kind of let him down a lot. And he doesn't have the same kind of style as someone like Light. Light's the kind of guy that, you know, he's cutting SCVs more often, so he's stopping at like 35 to 40 SCVs in Terran versus Zerg a lot, and trying to squeeze out as much production as possible and hit you with those razor thin timing windows where he's got just barely enough stuff to get the damage done on a slightly lower economy. Barracks isn't that kind of guy, but he has the same kind of like high intense mechanic style approach to the game. And you do need that when playing things like SK Terran to have an absolute overwhelming abuse of mechanics.
I don't know who I'd give the best chance of taking down Soulkey, but might be Barracks, man. I know it might sound like we're overselling this guy, but he is crazy good right now. Crazy, crazy strong. By the way, some great groups we've got in the round of 16. All these groups are insanely good. Nobody snuck through in the round of 24. Everybody who's here deserves to be here. They've played out of their minds, and it's going to be so hard to call these groups, Xun. Like I said, though, we're both calling it for Soulkey and Barracks. Let's see if we end up being proven right.
Yeah, I think we might be saying there could be a bit of an upset here. It's possible where Scan somehow manages to break through. I just think it's so unlikely. It's way less likely than some of the other upsets we have had in the ASL. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be transpiring. Maybe, just maybe, though, he can hold his own against Barracks and Light in the Terran versus Terran. Scan is pretty good in that matchup, so maybe, just maybe, he can go all the way. But guys, like, this is going to be an absolute crazy showdown today. Even though Soulkey versus Scan might be a little bit of a one-sided showing, I think the group overall is going to be pretty exciting. Look at the statistics of this guy. He's such a solid all-around player. He's a 33-year-old guy. He's an old-school StarCraft gamer. He's been playing for Woongjin Stars back in the day. He made a splash in the scene as far back as 2010 during the Kesper Dream League era. It wasn't long until he was achieving all kills against STX Seoul, taking down like 4 players in a row. Kind of crazy stuff. He took down Mini 4-1 in the ASL 16 finals, Hero 4-3 in the ASL 17 finals, and most recently took out Sharp for a 4-1 victory in ASL 18, earning him his 3rd consecutive gold medal win, which makes this guy basically the ultimate gamer right now in the StarCraft sphere, at least for the moment being. Achieving back-to-back wins for a hat-trick is extremely difficult to achieve, saying. I mean, but one thing we've been considering is, has he still got the same drive to perform at 100% after that triple medal win? Like, he's probably still wanting to make money and what have you, but he doesn't maybe have the exact same kind of drive that he did once before. Now that he's got such accolades under his belt, maybe he can't perform at his absolute best right now.
Look at that Scan with 100% win rate. It's over, boys. He's got this. Let's go, Scan. No, just a very small sample size. In fact, just one game played in the ASL versus Zerg. I think we're going to 50% possibly after this game, guys. I know Scan's probably got that in his head right now. He's got to clear that head out, though. Anything is possible in a best of one.
I mean, that 100% victory rate is pretty impressive in the sense of that it was against Calm, and, you know, he did manage to make Calm look a little bit silly in that game, and correctly read the play and managed to, you know, push out against the fake all-in muta from Calm and managed to overwhelm him. I'm hoping he can actually perform well today. I doubt he's getting out of this group, Sam, but I want him to perform well, especially against Soulkey. Give us a good Terran versus Zerg Scan and make us proud.
No matter what happens in these matches, guys, we're going to be happy as long as there's some intense back and forth. That's what we're looking for. Hopefully, Scan can show us some great gameplay here. Give Soulkey a run for his money. Let's get it started, guys. First game of the night, Soulkey versus Scan. Here we go on Metropolis. Here they are. Soulkey. Down in the bottom right, Scan. We're here in the top right. This map can cause some pretty interesting game states, but with the opening and the positioning, Soulkey, I think, has an advantage in these spots. His hatchery, or his, excuse me, his natural mineral patches facing downwards, it's going to be a bit difficult to prevent Mutas from doing severe damage.
Yeah. I imagine this is slightly Soulkey favored. There is a lot of space behind those minerals. The problem is getting behind them. Like, there's only a small gap to get your Marines behind them. So even while you're set up with all your turrets and you're well defended, they can still do a lot of damage to you. Hopefully, Scan can be on top of his Mutalisk defense this game. Interesting placement of his depot here. Maybe he's worried about some very early pool shenanigans. Is he going to build a barracks right on top of that as well? Make like a semi-wall in?
This is interesting. Almost looks like he's preparing for a zealot coming up this ramp.
Yeah.
But
it's like there's no Protoss in this group, Scan.
well, Scan gonna place that barracks on high ground. We did see the high ground barracks work out very well for Rush in the round of 24. Remember when he got 6 pooled, or was it 5 pool, by Hyun and barely managed to hold on because of that high ground barracks. Not going to be the case here, though. Soulkey opening with a 12 hatch, everything looking normal. He opened 12 hatch just about every game versus Rush in the SDS, so really seems like he's comfortable with this play, and it is a comfort pick for most Zerg players.
It is going to be a 2.5 hatchery play here from Soulkey with a slightly safer pool timing. So he took his pool at 11, and now he's going to be taking his gas at 12. Just to make sure he's safer against an early 8 racks BBS. He's getting in with the drone scout, which is huge. He's going to see the early gas timing from Scan. Now, this could be anything. This could be a normal mech play. This could be a 2-port Wraith, Vulture drop. It could be so many different things right now. He's not pulling off of gas, which makes me think this is probably going to be some kind of aggressive play. Could be the Wraith play. Could be the Vulture speed play. Also a Vulture drop. There's quite a few possibilities we could see out Scan. He was back in the day known for going 2-port Wraith against Zerg.
Really? I don't remember that, but if he pulls it out here, that would be crazy confidence.
Yeah,
Scan going for 2-port Wraith is not how I expected him to play this game. Maybe falling back on that old comfort pick. However,
I think
yeah, go ahead.
I think it might actually be that, though. Like, the way he's lined up his build order, look, yeah, there's the two ports here. So he actually is going for that play, and it does require a crazy amount of confidence. It's a shame, though, Soulkey killing that scouting SCV does shut down a little bit of the scouting potential here for Scan to let him know exactly what Soulkey's timings are going to be. He's going to have to rely on pure assumptions from now on. We'll be able to put out the Vulture soon to put on some pressure, but Soulkey's already got that 3-minute 30 creep colony on the way to perfectly block the timing of that.
It's like Overlord may end up scouting in here and seeing the wraiths as they pop out as well. That's a donation to the cause here for Scan. He'll get that kill right away, but he also will be revealed. And so Soulkey will start the preparation. I imagine Burrow upgrade will be on the way. First couple of Wraiths going to pop out, or the first couple of Mutas going to pop out pretty quickly after that. Here's that Wraith. There it is. He sees the starport. Will he continue to go forward? Actually, only seeing one doesn't fully reveal what's going on, but no CC is another bit of information that should give Soulkey what he needs to prepare for this.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a 1-1-1 with a CC being built in the main. It's just very unlikely to be the case. Soulkey could fairly certainly glean that this is going to be some kind of Wraith pressure build at the bare minimum, so he can optimize the defend against that. He'll know exactly that it's going to be 2-port Wraith once he sees these paired Wraiths trying to hunt down his Overlord, and running the Overlord early does buy him a little bit of extra time and not being supply blocked here to optimize, get another Overlord to replace that, and also squeeze out a few drones and what have you before that dies.
Yeah, this Spire is getting close to finish. He's going to pull the trigger with a Marine baiting in. He's going to try and take that damage. Now going to dive past, but the drones are just going to block a lot of this. They actually get a couple kills here, not able to get very much out of that. And the Burrow comes through, what, 2-3 kills off of this initial attack. He will get another Overlord here in the main. And he keep the supply block going. Okay, he does get the kill there, but no supply block, and there's the Spire. Some Scourge will be started.
Yeah, he can make at least 3 pairs of Scourge right now, which is just about what he needs to. He has kept a lot of these drones alive with the use of this bar upgrade, still squeezing out a tiny bit of gas mining, even while under threat of the race. So really important here for Soulkey to squeeze every drop of juice out of the orange that he can while he still can. Cloak will be on the way and finishing up in a few moments here, so he needs to put on a good showing to make sure he's squeezing out as much economy as he can until this Cloak finishes, and so Scan can start to really harass him. He's got some borrowed Zerglings, one blocking the CC from landing in the natural, but also to scout as well. Borrowedlings are very good against scouting against Terran, so making use of that upgrade right now.
Yeah, making good use of that. It'll also be important if there was like a Marine transition here from Scan. That is one way you can try to play this out. After the 2-port Wraith play, you could try to go directly into a bunch of Marines and just go for an attack. 2 kills here in the natural. 5 Wraiths. Those must have been damaged drones, right? Or was that all in one shot? Because there is that one point of heal.
Yes. If they manually align all shoot simultaneously, the drone will still die. It's just very difficult to get all 5 shots to land simultaneously, but it is possible.
Really good control by Scan then. Able to get all of them to fire at the same time and get those kills. 2 more drones is a big deal. Soulkey is very low on overall macro, just like Scan. Oh, he loses a Wraith back at home. Or what was that? Oh, over in center right. Okay. Yeah. That must have been a missed rally there from Scan. That's pretty painful.
Absolutely. Yeah, and he has to wait for this turret to finish up before he can even get the command center going here. It should still line up okay for Scan. I just don't think the Wraith harass has been significant enough. The borrow was just too strong from Soulkey. I have a little bit of concern here going forward. I imagine that Soulkey is getting the better end of this stick for the time being.
Is there going to be a transition possibly into Valkyries? Scan has that add-on. Hasn't put down a armory just yet, but I'm not sure if he can hold purely with a couple of turrets and this many Wraiths. Soulkey could try to come across the map. No, he throws down a 3rd. All right. Has a 3rd hatchery in his main as well. So he's ready to macro out of this and get himself into a nice mid to late game position. Yeah, I do really like Soulkey's position. He's done a great job mitigating most of the harass from Scan. Shutting down that Vulture run by at the start that was supported by the race was really important. And the borrow, the usage was really high level. He almost lost nothing, but being able to borrow those drones a few at a time while also still squeezing out valuable minerals and gas before having to actually borrow the drone finally. So I think he's basically like dotted enough I's and crossed enough T's here that he should have a very strong mid game against Scan, almost regardless of what Scan tries to elect for. He's got one single cloaked Wraith trying to run through the base of Soulkey right now, just for scouting information, see exactly what's what. He doesn't quite know how Soulkey will want to approach this mid game right now, but he probably knows that he's not in the bestest of positions to be aggressive with the race right now. No, he's seen everything. That was a really good scout there from Scan. Just cloak one Wraith and send it through. Really smart stuff. Will give him a good idea of what's going on, but I'm sure he's not too happy about what he's seeing there. Now, is he at the level to split off 2 groups of Wraiths and start harassing in 2 different locations? I've seen Light, for instance, do a lot of this, where he just starts splitting these off and hitting a bunch of different spots. 2, 3 drones go down. Not too bad, killing off most of this transfer. He's got the rest of the Wraiths back at home, but I'd love to see him come in with one group over on the left-hand side, the other group in the right-hand side, try to get some, force these mutas to bounce back and forth, because it's very common that Zergs will keep all their mutas on one hotkey and not split them off when they see the Wraiths come in to deal that harass. Oh, it looks like he's got them already split.
I think Soulkey actually is aware of that, and he's keeping his own defenses split, knowing that that's what's happening. He sees there's only like 5 or 6 Wraiths in one pack, and the others could be sharking around. So he's already got the other units prepared in the main base just in case that happens, and it is going to happen. And Soulkey's going to be ready for it. He's going to get on top of those Wraiths. Scan has to run away really quickly. There's not a limited speed on that Overlord, but the mutas run really fast, so you have to stay outside of the Overlord's range at all times, or those mutas are going to shred you.
Ooh, dude, Soulkey's a little bit too good, man. Yeah, I've seen so many Zerg players get pulled apart by a play like this. Having two separate groups of Wraiths hitting both bases and being unable to keep up, but Soulkey's doing a great job thus far. Now we're going to have a follow-up here from Scan with a bunch of Marine medics coming across the map here shortly, but Lurker is already done. Oh, man, it's looking worse and worse here for Scan, my boy.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real good answer to this. He can't just go Valkyries to counter the Mutalisks because then he's got nothing to answer the Lurkers. There's no real good solution here for Scan, unfortunately. +1 air carapace on those air units as well. I think I've just lost feed to your stream. Are you still there, sir?
Yeah, looks like we're having a bit of trouble here. Technical difficulties, guys.
Okay.
Not sure exactly what that was, but we are back. Nothing crazy happened during that little spat there of lag or latency. We're here with the clean stream, and oh my god.
Oh, that's
wow.
so brutal, say it. And he's getting on top of the Wraiths as well, the Mutalisks. This is the worst case scenario for Scan, our boy. Unfortunately, there's a tank push coming behind this, but it's going to get absolutely dismantled right now. There's just not enough firepower in these Gauss rifles of the Marines to keep these Mutalisks at bay, and not enough Wraiths to just annihilate them with the Gemini missile. So basically losing on both the air and the ground is Scan right now, and Soulkey's looking very dominant, pushing his way towards the rally point of Scan further and further with these Lurkers, and Defiler Mound is almost finishing up as well, so Consume's going to be on the way soon. This is looking really rough for Scan.
A lot of Lurkers are coming forward, and it looks like he's going to be able to contain the rally point. I don't think there's siege mode up yet, and it's a long way off from having a radiate, so vessels are not going to be there in time to deal with the Defilers coming. This is so many Lurkers, guys. So many Lurkers are coming forward here. Scan is about 30 supply behind, and Soulkey is overwhelming him. He won't even need to wait for Defilers. Look at the macro being displayed here today.
It's just crazy how good some players are at the game. It's not like Zerg is just OP saying, it's just Soulkey is that good at hitting his macro beats while also executing in this micro and decision making. Not many people can. Scan scratching his head like, what do I even do against this? Has to tap out. GG finally called. The only hope he's got now is somehow doing well in the Terran versus Terran lineup. Soulkey is blasting ahead to that winner's match already.
There it is. His first loss versus Zerg in the ASL. This is his second time in the ASL. Am I right about that, Xun? I believe it's the second time making it through. But the first time here in the round of 16, and it's not off to a great start.
Yes, this is definitely his first time in the round of 16. You might be right also about his first actual appearance. I think he's had one or two. I think he's had 2 appearances in the ASL, and he's gone 0-2 each time. And
this is the second. His second. No, it's third.
Okay. I think it's third because he had more losses on his record the first time around. So I'm pretty sure they don't include the qualifier score. Yeah.
No, they don't. No, they don't. He would have a much better record if they included the qualifiers. He generally does pretty good in those qualifiers. He had a tough group. He had a tough group in the round of 16 as well. And now, I mean, he's here against who should probably win this ASL. I mean, he's going to be a lot of people's favorite. For ASL 19. It would be foolish to bet against this guy. But guys, we're going to take a short break. It's going to be a long day of casting, potential for 11 games here. So 2 minutes. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Barracks taking the stage. He's looking calm, looking chill. This guy, he's been in this tournament before. You can see he's got quite a few games up on screen. Around 40% win ratio there. That's not really reflective of his skill right now, dude. I tell you what, Xun.
Yeah.
This guy is going to have a great win rate in the next couple of seasons. Mark my words. This guy is going places.
I imagine it'll be much more similar to Light's style as time progresses here. Light's been a very strong challenger in this event for a long time. That's why his record is much more solid, whereas anyone else that's not quite at the highest of echelons of play are very much going to struggle to maintain a 50% record in any of those statistics. It's just such a brutal tournament setting. To even have a 50% is kind of insane. Barracks, though, he's been on the come up. He's been absolutely playing out of his mind recently. Still at really high levels of mechanics, but his decision-making has just been so much better. Hopefully, somehow he can show it here today and go all the way and join Soulkey all the way through into the round of 8 here. We'll have to wait and see. Light is a very potent challenger, though.
You've heard us say it a lot. TVT has changed so much, but I think it suits Barracks' style and his strengths maybe the most. Here we go, guys. Barracks versus Light. Game number 2. Let's get it started. Our players take the stage. We've got Light here in the top left-hand corner. Barracks spawning top right. I haven't seen much TVT on Metropolis, so I'm curious to see how this one will play out. But I can imagine drop plays are going to be extremely potent on this map.
Yeah, I imagine that we'll be seeing a lot of crazy drop shenanigans or very early timing attacks. We did see some kind of impressive games at a speed and what have you, doing some very early game aggression. Could be seeing that here today as well.
Yeah, we'll have to be watching Barracks and what decisions he's making. Light probably going to be the reacting player, although considering how his series versus Barracks have gone so far, maybe he wants to switch things up today. Maybe he's come with a very specific plan to try and take out Barracks. Something maybe Barracks has never seen before because they have practiced together so much. It adds a different dynamic to this match.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. It's very difficult to have the same kind of play against every opponent. Like everyone's gonna figure you out in different ways, and you're gonna have a different story against different players. And it's always a clash of styles as well. Like it's not just about who's better; it's about whose style counters whose style. So sometimes you just get in a style deficit where they just, you know, they've got a better read on you, and their style is just, you know, a little bit better suited to countering yours, and you got some deficits to overcome. We'll have to wait and see if there's any narratives like that occurring between these two guys. It does seem like they've got a bit of a student mentor thing going on, though, where Barracks is always trying to outdo his master. The master's always got a few tricks up his sleeve, though.
Yeah, Light might have been holding some stuff back. You know, he's had a lot of series versus Barracks recently. Very important matchups, very important matches, but he may have been holding something special back for the ASL specifically.
Right.
This is such a huge match. This is such a massive tournament and a giant deal for these players. So there might be that factor. Maybe he's going to hold something back specifically for a match like this. I wonder, you know, we saw Light in the group selection. He had a big smile on his face. Was that because he knows something that Barracks doesn't? He's got a plan here to take him out.
I mean, maybe he could have, you know, sold him a bit of false information about how to deal with something, and he's got another way of dealing with it. We do see a very fast 2 Marine move out from Barracks here, hoping to catch this SCV, put a lot of damage onto it, and deny any information gleaned from that. See 2 Marines also being built from light. So both players playing super safe right now. Going early 2 Marine means you're going to be pretty much safe against Abrax or BBS, or at least have a fighting chance against BBS if you can get up onto the bunker. Look at this from Barracks. Another 2-port Wraith. See, we're in game number 2, and we've already seen 2 2-port Wraiths. And we thought this group was going to be a long one.
It's going to be a crazy one with the way these are going. 2-port Wraith again. Very interesting stuff. You need to do a lot of damage with this. We'll see when Light decides to throw down that armory, because the armory timing here is going to be insanely important. Now, he did block out this scout with those 2 Marines at the front. Denying the scout there from Light makes a world of difference. He doesn't know if there's a CC or not. There could be a CC getting set up right now, and you would want to get this add-on, try to get a tank out, maybe go into mines. I'm not exactly sure what Light wants to do, but he's not... Oh, a second factory. He's not going for an armoration. This could be really bad.
I mean, this could be really bad. I mean, he only has 2 Marines as anti-air. I mean, 1 Wraith can kill 2 Marines of micro. It's that bad. So this could escalate very quickly. And if he starts killing the SCVs as he's building the armory as well, that's when it really starts to stack up. You're like forced to repair the SCV as it's building the armory. It just doesn't feel good. And you're kind of relying on a little bit of RNG to even get that building finished optimally as well. This is going to get really out of hand really quickly, saying, and Barracks is going to see the good news soon.
Erik's going to get into this main base. Looks like he's adding on, or getting that add-on as well. So he may end up... Oh, God, a 3 factory? Oh, my gosh. He cancels. He cancels. This is so bad. Okay, the Wraiths are going to fly through, but... He finally finds that armory. Armory built out here in the front is crazy. He just needs that armory so desperately. Doesn't really want to fight the Marines right now. He could win that fight potentially, and he is going to go ahead and take that fight now. But he really just needs to deny this armory as long as possible. Look at this. A bunch of SCVs are going to begin repairing this, but unfortunately it's an Artosis SCV. It just has a mind of its own. Going over here to the right-hand side. Can he get the repair here? No. Again, another SCV goes down, and more Wraiths are arriving. Guys, it's going to get worse.
That's 4 SCVs so far, saying, and it's only going to escalate. At least 5 or 6 are going to go down before that. Oh, he's not getting the click on that. I think he misclicked. Light not going back to building that armory right away as soon as that SCV dies could cost him. He's going to lose so many of these SCVs before he can even start building Goliaths and turrets and getting those finished up. Oh, this is crazy damage from Barracks. One of the best case scenarios he could have hoped for without just winning the game outright here.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, he was building a second armory in the main base, by the way. Just panicked. Absolutely panicked there. And Light, oh, he's going to find an angle on Light's natural mineral patches here as well, or his main mineral patches, excuse me. Another Wraith flies in, and we're probably going to have Cloak done here in a moment as well, by the way, guys. This is so rough for Light.
He actually got it right now, and he activated it. He needs to go back in with the Wraiths if he wants to utilize the cloak and try and get on top of this Goliath count, but wasn't able to do so before he got to the safety of that turret. So for the time being, Light is going to stabilize. The real question is, how strong is the macro behind Barracks? After doing all that damage, has he got a very strong transition as well underway to both abuse the skies of his air superiority, but also follow this up with a strong macro game will be important.
The damage was really starting to mount there. A lot of SCVs went down, but the macro engine behind is not looking that strong. In the end, we've still got even supply. It's just Wraith plays a lot better. It's better to have Wraiths than to have Goliaths. You really don't want to build Goliaths in this matchup. The Wraiths are going to have way more utility as the game goes on. And so I still feel pretty good for Barracks here. I thought that damage was mounting up a lot faster than it actually was. Maybe missing some clicks there. Like, you saw that he was, flying around quite a bit there looking for the armory initially. and you know, not starting to kill SCVs right off the bat. Oh, double Wraith play or double Starport play to follow this up. Light is going to try and make his own Wraiths and overwhelm, maybe even go into a Valkyrie here.
I mean, this could really work out well, because I don't think Barracks is going to add on too many Wraiths, you know. So if Light gets up to like 6 or 8 Wraiths and then just goes for it, he might absolutely crush Barracks. And he can also go for a Valkyrie play, but I think it's much more likely just to be a mass Wraith play from Light and try and seize back air superiority. He knows that the tank lines of Barracks are going to be very difficult to disrupt without having air superiority, so he needs to somehow seize that back.
Ooh, might be able to get a kill here. Not quite able to get one of these Wraiths. Gonna fly back, but does put some damage on a couple of them, and there's only 4 left. So in Wraith versus Wraith, it's very similar to Vulture versus Vulture or Muta versus Muta. If you just have one more Wraith than your opponent, you're absolutely going to smash them. It's not even close. So as soon as Light has an extra Wraith, he could go in, kill all the Wraiths of Barracks, and then start to kill these tank lines as well.
Right, and he needs to build up, like, you know, say 6 Wraiths initially before he shows them, but then he can really start to put the pressure on, because there's not going to be any Goliath support for these tanks of Barracks critically. So once the Barracks' Wraiths are dealt with, the tanks are just sitting ducks in the bottom of the barrel, and that's going to be really painful. And look at this, he's going for dropship play right now. This could just get absolutely annihilated by the Wraith play of Light if he moves out of them right now as well.
Hard to believe that Light has stabilized this well. He really handled that quite with a professional manner. Now going to go ahead and chase down these Wraiths of Barracks. There's nothing anti-air behind this. No turrets on this tank line. The drop is going to come into the main base, but this is not what Light is worried about. He's worried about busting this line. As soon as all the tanks unsiege, he's going to push up into a really good position. This is quite a bit of damage going down on his mineral line, but he is shoving everything back. Then Barracks is in full panic mode right now, just trying to keep alive.
Yeah, he just has no way of dealing with these Wraiths. Without Goliaths of his own, he just can't really shut them down. He's probably building Wraiths of his own. He's trying to desperately repair this tank, but with 4 Wraiths shooting away, like, it's really hard to repair the tanks. Like, just 2 or 3 Wraiths, you can kind of repair that up, but once there's like 4, 5, or 6 Wraiths shooting your tanks, they are going to die. And now this is like kind of an untenable position for Barracks. He's losing his natural right now. I think he's going to have to tap out against Light. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He's going to have to go all the way to the loser's match and try and like redeem himself here. Like, Light is really outclassed him in this game.
Absolutely. Kind of crazy how well Light was able to swing that back.
Yeah.
He's going to lose this Wraith for sure. There's a possibility he could make a Valkyrie, and Valkyries do deal quite well with these big clumps of Wraiths, but the position is so difficult. It's almost untenable. He does manage to slow down the third base. You can see Light trying to get more advantages here. But it looks like he's going to back up slowly and just set up in a nice wide arc outside of the natural to make sure that Barracks can't come out easily. Try to get this third base online. Oh my goodness. Yeah. This is a tough spot.
The Vulture drop and the slowdown on the third is the only thing keeping Barracks in this game, but he's still very desperate. He's trying to pull the boys to get out right now. He needs to somehow break the siege contain. It's going to be so difficult to do that with the Wraiths waiting in reserve, though. Like, there's only 1 or 2 Goliaths for Barracks. They can't actually stop the Wraith from killing the Goliath, even with repair. This is kind of... Oh, he might just barely get the repair on. And a Valkyrie comes out for Barracks, actually. Maybe, just maybe, he can hold on right now and slowing down. Oh, no, he's going to lose the Valkyrie for free, though, without killing those 2 Wraiths. That's a little bit problematic. He does have a Goliath or 2 now to buffer against those, but it doesn't really matter. He's still contained, and Light is going to finish his third base.
He does get that Valkyrie out, but the Wraiths were pretty spread during that moment. Wasn't able to get the full value out of it without supporting Wraiths helping out as well. Here comes those tanks pushing forward. He's going to target down the tanks of Light, trying to open up this position a little bit. Really needs to get out of here. The supply is dropping like a stone, whereas Light is sending up more tanks and reinforcement and looking towards breaking this position here soon.
Yeah, this is looking really rough for Barracks. Like, he's just barely breaking out, but it's a little bit too cost inefficient. And by the time he's finally done it, there's another massive round of tanks to show up and keep him sealed in his base. Mint condition, unfortunately. Like, maybe he can sell Barracks off to a collector in the future, keeping him this well contained.
I think he's going to be a little bit too battered and bruised to be able to be worth anything. He's really beating him up right now, putting him through the ringer.
Set on eBay, slightly used.
Yeah, slightly used. Barracks gonna at least get up onto this high ground and try to grab a CC on the top center. That's something, right? He can start to even out the economic play a little bit. We've seen Barracks come back from some really rough spots, and really in TVT there is a lot of comeback potential. It's just very hard once your opponent's got you this well sealed into your base.
Yeah, I mean, there's still technically a lifeline for Barracks where he can make a game of it, getting this third base online. It's just going to be a very hard road to navigate. He's going to be contained outside his third and his natural rally point. It's going to be a trade deficit to overcome, at least for Barracks, and he's relying still quite heavily on vultures to do that. I don't know if this is going to be a functioning game state for much longer for Barracks. He's going to make another attempt at pushing forward into the center here. It's not going to work, unfortunately. Light is already just set up and prepared exactly where he needs to be. There's almost a perfect amount of concentration of forces exactly where Light needs them at this point in the game, where it makes it very difficult for Barracks to break out anywhere.
There's two schools of thought in how to close a game like this from Light's position. You can either do what he's doing right now, which is build a ton of Wraiths, get some Valkyries out and the like, and just shut down any drops as they come out, or you can start building turrets everywhere and just secure these lines. Make it really tough for the opponent to fly out in any one direction. But this Wraith play, definitely the smarter choice. It allows you to chase down anything, and he takes this engage pretty nicely with the Valkyrie, going to be able to kill a lot of Barracks' air army. And Barracks really doesn't have the luxury of going for dropships here. You know, he hasn't built up that dropship number. He's spending all his money on tanks and Wraiths and just trying to fight Light. So he's going to have to come in and try to break this before +2 comes online. You see, he hasn't even gone for +1 yet. Light is getting closer and closer to +2. This is really his only chance to break out. He's trying for it, but all the vultures are getting slammed. Vultures just get annihilated. Yeah. No chance of breaking out here.
Yeah, like Scan says, they're basically popcorn in this matchup after a certain point. It's really rough. Fourth base also about to be finished up for Light. +2 on the way, like you say. So he's just going to get a more and more rougher spot for Barracks to have to make his way out of. He's not going to do it, unfortunately. I think there's just slightly too much here for Light. Even going to be laying down mines in the wake of these tanks as well to get some cost-efficient trades of those spider mine detonations. Really efficient stuff here from Light. He might not necessarily kill Barracks' army right now, but it doesn't really matter. He just needs to keep the threat contained. And look at the supply differential right now. It's almost 40 in favor of Light. Kind of insane. And with the Valkyrie support in the air, like, there's just no real way of like getting a gambit going for Barracks where he just gets like a bunch of Wraiths and goes pew pew on those tank lines either. So Light has probably isolated his win condition. I don't think Barracks can navigate out of it.
He's gonna have a really hard time, especially once that +2 is done. Light starting to set up turret lines all over the place as well now, and he sees that Wraiths are continuing to be made, so he knows there's no threat of that dropship play, at least not in any big way coming into his main base or something like that. He's just going to have to keep rallying forward to this spot exactly and stopping Barracks from ever breaking out. Another big volley there of Valkyrie shots, killing off another few Wraiths. This is not going Barracks' way. In any sense of the word. He is having a very hard time in the air and on the ground.
Yeah, the game just becomes worse and worse for Barracks as the time ticks by here, unfortunately. All Light needs to do is just contain him on these 3 bases, and with his own 4th base, will eventually be able to outproduce Barracks. And all he's hoping for here is just, more cost-efficient trade. StarCraft is essentially just a game of trading, and abusing the terrain to trade better is always going to work out better for a Terran player than the guy that's trying to push into your tank line. So it's really difficult for Barracks to overcome a deficit that's this large. That's why we kind of are counting him out right now.
Barracks still giving himself chances in this game. He's going to try and come out now, but +2 is done. That's it. He sees it. The
Soulkey is always a tale as old as time. They really do know each other's styles well, and will be putting on a very strong showing of Terran versus Zerg for us to feast our eyes on.
There he is. T-pose on stage. Not quite
sort
a
of
T-pose.
Y pose, like a YMCA, you know?
I can't wait to see how he plays against Soulkey. Watched a great SDS between him and Soulkey. Best of 7 was a lot of fun. These two guys are super evenly matched. And they put on a great show. So that best of 3 is going to be amazing.
Oh, absolutely. And it will be Scan joining Barracks in the losers match as well. I'm sure that'll be an interesting best of 3. Really would be nice to see Scan somehow find a way of getting at least one of those games under his belt. Who knows, maybe even 2, and somehow knocking out Barracks would be kind of insane. I mean, even if Scan then gets dealt with in the final match, would be kind of insane for him to take out a player of Barracks' caliber. Maybe, just maybe he can make it happen.
I hope Scan can get a game off of Barracks, but really making it to the round of 16 this season is a huge accomplishment in and of itself. He got his first win ever in ASL, by the way, this season, guys. So big strides have been made. Even if he's not getting through to the round of 8, I'd say big ups to Scan here for just grinding away and finally making it through to this round of 16.
I mean, he really dealt with Calm nicely, and he handled Shuttle in a pretty convincing fashion as well. Maybe, just maybe, he can have some more great showings here today and somehow at least get through to that finals match. I don't necessarily think that is going to happen. I just want to see strong games from him. It was a little bit unfortunate that he got dealt with by Soulkey so efficiently when going for that 2-pot Wraith, but it is kind of to be expected. Soulkey's just that good defensively. He makes you look a little bit silly whenever you try something like that.
We're getting some shots of the crowd here, guys, in Hot 6 as the sponsor. Get yourself down to Korea sometime if you can make it out there and get a seat in the studio. It is an incredible event, and I definitely think everyone who's a StarCraft fan should visit it one time.
Is he going to chug it?
There it is. Get it.
There it is. Get it. Get it.
Wow. Amazing. I'm sure it's delicious.
Chug it before.
It's an energy drink, right? This pro one?
Right. I mean, yeah, well, it's got protein in it as well. So kind of like a workout energy drink. Yeah, it's got protein as well as energy. So I imagine it's like, kind of marketed towards being like a, not only like a monster energy drink, but actually like something that's going to be perking you up for the gym maybe as well, with a little bit of protein in there.
What kind of protein is that, I wonder?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's going straight through you and straight into the toilet bowl. Saying, I don't think your body's absorbing too much of that nutrients. But
your body's like, what is this? This is not an animal. This is not meat. Like, what am I even do with this?
Yeah,
some foreign substance.
Foreign contaminant.
Possibly soy protein. We don't really know, but we're very glad that we have sponsors still in 2025 for StarCraft Brood War. It's kind of crazy that it's still going this strong, but we're very happy about it.
Yeah, we do need sponsors like this to keep the lights on, and especially the university scene in a StarCraft is what's really like the OG at the moment. Like, the fact that these players get so much support from the donations that go through the universities, and they spend their time coaching the lower ranked streamers, that's what's really keeping the scene alive right now, and has been for quite some years. So hopefully that can still maintain, and we'll have many more years of StarCraft to keep bringing you this absolutely insane action, along with the help of these sponsors and the StarCraft university scene in Korea.
Yeah, unfortunately, guys, we don't have any sponsors for this English cast. You guys are the sponsor here, all of you joining us on the Soup channel and watching later on StarCastTV, supporting through Patreon. You're keeping the lights on for us and keeping us doing what we love and bringing you guys some amazing content, some excellent live casting for this amazing series. Thank you so much. Maybe we'll get Hot Six involved at some point. Maybe we can get somebody out here for a sponsor. That would be amazing.
I mean, there's some people in the comments that would do anything to get into those Hot Six commercials, saying. But yeah, we really do appreciate your guys' support, and we want to keep bringing you these live casts for a long time to come. And we absolutely adore being part of this event and being able to bring you guys this action live.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to take a short break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds of... I'm not sure what this is, halftime show here, and then we'll get into our winners match. Don't go away. We'll be right back. All right, we are back, just about ready to get in to this winner's match. Soulkey taking the stage. This is the guy we expect to make it through to the finals, maybe even to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
His
He's
opponent,
definitely
though,
the favorite right now.
definitely one of the strongest players in the world. Definitely top 8, maybe even top 4. Depends on who you talk to. This guy is incredibly strong, and he's definitely going to give Soulkey a run for his money. Dude, imagine if Soulkey just smashes him right now. What does that even mean?
I mean, that means that Soulkey doesn't care about the accolades. He only cares about the money. And he does use that moniker, need money. So beware. He might not be playing at any diminished motivation at all and might still be putting on absolute crazy games saying, and we're going to be getting into it right away, it seems. It's the winner's match between Soulkey and Light in the ASL 19. The map is going to be Radiant. Let's get it on, guys.
Okay, Soulkey here on screen. Top left, Light. There he is. Top right. Now, being here on Radion with these close positions, this could be a very strong position to go into a quick Mutalisk play. It'd be very difficult to hold off the Mutalisk attacks, but Light will also know where to concentrate his turrets in the early game. It's just such a short rush distance. He may have to cut some, or to start building those turrets a little earlier than he would otherwise.
Right, it depends on, if this is going to be a 2.5 hatchery or not from Soulkey as well. He might be doing a very crisp spire, or might be getting a much more macro-centric style with more lava and slightly delayed Mutalisk timing. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, if that does come down where he gets a very crisp spire timing, Light may be forced to cut a little bit to make sure those turrets are on time.
Now, does Light want to play a bio game? It's my big questions for the starting part. But look at this Soulkey with an overpool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Early pool from him is pretty crazy for Radion.
We've seen this a lot from him, though, where he plays it a lot more like Zerg versus Protoss and just wants to be ultra safe against 8-Racks or BBS and play from behind if it's normal. Yeah. CC first is kind of wild. I don't know if overpool can. I mean, with close positions on horizontal, maybe there's a way of him doing something with the early pull. It's usually not the case on Radion, though. If it's like cross map or vertical spawns, it's very difficult to punish a CC first.
Oh boy. Light is really going to risk it all. And look at this. The Overlord spots the CC immediately. He's going to immediately build 6 lings and go across the map, dude.
Yeah. It's only possible because of this Overlord scout and the fact that he's seen him so quickly do it as well, right? This is like a really unlucky situation for Light, but it has transpired.
Yeah, otherwise, he would have gone for 4 lings most likely. Now he can build straight up 6 and put the pedal to the metal here. Turn the screw on Light, who's scouting cross map. Oh my gosh, everything's going wrong.
No. Yeah, not like this. This is unfortunate. I mean, he's going to get punished. There is still a chance that he doesn't just straight up die here, but there probably will be some damage done by these Zerglings that makes Soulkey's game just that much more stronger going into the mid-game phase. And oh, look at this timing. He's going to get on top of the building SCVs. He just taps out. I can't really fault him. GG finally called. I mean, that's just a really insane build order win from Soulkey. Like, that's just crazy. Like, he's doing a build that's preparing him to defend against early shenanigans from Light, but because he scouted him first with that Overlord and saw the CC first, he can just make an extra pair of lings and punish that. Only because it's horizontal spawn, so any other position on Light is fine there.
Wow. Bit rough. Light maybe thinking he needed a bit of an early advantage. Going for a CC first is a risk, and Soulkey, yeah, he loves to go 12 hatchery, but he doesn't have to. Like we were talking about at the beginning of the cast today, this guy will throw in some wacky plays. He will go early pools. He will do some, you know, crazy timing attacks as well. That's what makes him so scary, and you can see just filled with confidence here. Light, hopefully that doesn't shake him too bad. He's already got a loss on the board. He's got to get 2 more, though. What a tall order.
It's crazy. I can't even imagine feeling like Light right now. We're going to be going straight into game number 2. It's going to be deja vu. Let's get it, guys.
Here's Soulkey spawning down in the bottom right. We got cross map now. 2 SCVs are heading out on the map. Wait, what?
What just happened? Wait,
what?
Was that the observer? Wait, that was the observer that was in a player's slot, right? That was like back in the day when you've got to like kill your own SCVs because there's not enough observer slots or something going on there, right?
Is that real? Oh, I'm so confused.
Yeah, I mean, they should have 4 observer slots. I don't know why they need more than 4 slots. Yeah, that's a little bit confusing to me. Like, imagine if like somehow these SCVs accidentally went into Light's vision right now. How confused Light would be as well.
All right, well, he's gonna put out an 8 racks anyway. Gonna send this 8 racks here. Try to get some damage early against Soulkey. Soulkey looking like he's probably going to overpool again. Oh my gosh, he does overpool.
Geez.
I thought he might opt for the 12 hatch finally, but dude, this guy, he knows that there's probably going to be some shenanigans out of Light, whether it's the CC first or the 8 racks.
Yeah.
He wants to get he wants to just have some lings out to try and deal with that, to try and either get that early damage or to shut this play down. Light, I mean, it's almost kind of desperation, don't you think? Why not play a normal game? If Soulkey's gonna 9 pool, then you get a little bit of advantage straight up by default.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a gas follow-up as well from Light. Like, he wants to do significant damage early on to this guy. He doesn't want to play a straight-up game, kind of indicating that he's not feeling it. Like, usually you're doing these kind of shenanigans where you just aren't comfortable with a straight-up game. And Soulkey going for this overpool, it does make you think, if it's not broke, why fix it? And if he's that confident playing from behind, it makes sense to go for this overpool to just guarantee the game state as much as possible. And it's worked out really well here. Like, Light sees the bad news. He sees the timing of that hatchery, so he knows it's probably a pool first opening. Gets confirmation by seeing those 4 lings. This is what we would have seen happen on radio, and just 4 lings being made, and an inability to punish that CC first had he not scouted him right away. But now these 4 lings are going to be great on defense against this 8 racks and scout it out early too.
Ooh, maybe gets a ling. Okay, not a bad start here for Light. He's gonna have 4 Marines pushing in towards that natural. He did make 6 lings, though. Crazy that Soulkey, he just kind of knows, man. He knows that Light is desperate. Yeah, he's got a good read on it. It's going to be a 2-hatch Hydra follow-up as well from Soulkey. He knows that this is going to be some kind of 1-1-1 play into a fast factory, and he wants just a very quick couple of speed Hydras to both mitigate damage and also put pressure onto Light and force a bunker necessary to defend as well. So Soulkey already thinking about the next phase of the game, but has to survive this phase of the game. This is 5 Marines. He needs to bring his other 4 lings back to wrap around. 5 Marines definitely beat 4. So right now, Light's doing a little bit of damage with this attack, but he's actually cancelled and remade the den. I'm a little bit confused by that decision. Oh, that's weird. Why did he need to feel the need to remake that? That's a bit strange. This position is looking very good for Light. He can hit the hatchery once he gets in that bunker, and yeah, he is going to start to hit that. Lings come down, sunken colony on the way. Sunken can't, or the bunker can't actually hit the sunken colony right there. So this is a little bit of a problem for Light. He will not kill this hatcher if the sunken ends up finishing. He's trying to deal some damage with the SCV actually to try and get that down. He's getting it quite low. It's going to be so low that maybe he can finish it off. Oh my god, is he actually going to get it? He does get it!
Oh my god! And the Vulture gets in. The speed does kick in for those Zerglings though. Now they can surround this Vulture. With perfect micro, Light can maybe still do a lot of damage here and get back to the safety of that bunker as well though. This is a lot of damage to Soulkey early on, and the hatchery is ticking away on its life right now. Soulkey feels desperate to get something done, and with these Vultures buffering for this bunker down here, I think that he actually might get the kill on this hatchery. It's kind of crazy.
That is ridiculous, Xun. That sunken colony going down with so little HP. Oh, he's gonna go ahead and dive on top of this bunker. Oh my god, the Lynx just do not have the surface area. I don't think he's gonna be able to do it. He does kill the Vulture. The Vulture goes down, but the bunker survives. GG is called. Incredible. Wow. Such a close game there. Even with the overpool build from Soulkey, not able to hold off that incredibly aggressive rush. But just barely, Xun. That was incredibly close.
Very close. Like, Light barely got that done. I do really like the follow-up from him to get the Vultures in there to assist the bunker as well. Everything was so well executed from Light. He barely had a read on how to calculate that into a win. It was very close indeed. Soulkey scrunching up his face a little bit there. He's a little bit rattled by how that game went. That wasn't supposed to happen in his book, at least. So now he's feeling the pressure on. It is a tiebreaker. The next map is going to be Death Valley. We haven't really had an opportunity to bring you guys this map yet, but it's the most insane map. It's kind of split up into two, similar to the Blitz Y map or Blitz X map, however you remember it. But it's kind of like got these like Troy gates on the right-hand side and just a few bases, but it's completely divided from the rest of the map. So you got this like big open map on the left and this tight little one-way corridor on the right-hand side here.
This is a wacky map, and you know what? I've heard Xun, some people talking and commenting in the past saying like, oh, you know, Soulkey's won 3 ASLs in a row. It's time to start for the ASL to start, you know, favoring anti-Zerg maps, to start putting out like a crazy, you know, anti-Zerg like map pool. But yeah, like they did to Flash when he's won 3 in a row. But honestly, I feel like this is one of those maps. This is such a weird map. It's going to be incredibly hard to win as Zerg here, I think. This is going to be tough to pull together, but, you know, with Soulkey's style, he might be able to figure something out. I think possibility of something like a crazy Zerg style from him on this map might actually be really powerful.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, especially how they want to navigate the early game, because this map is has like a crazy range of potential builds you can go for, and you know, kind of go for maybe some crazy cheeses on as well. It's like how Monty Hall used to be back in the day. Like, you can just play long games on it and, you know, play slow, but there's so many potential for shenanigans or macro cheeses as well. But we're going to be going right into our final decider match in this best of 3 series, game number 3 between Soulkey and Light on Death Valley.
Silence in the studio as we load into this next game. The decider, the winner's match between Soulkey and Light. Maybe not a lot of fans. What do you think, Xun? We had so many long cheers in the round of 24. I guess more popular players in that round.
Yeah, these guys aren't good looking enough, you know. Like, you haven't got the handsome nerd of Bisu just bringing in the fangirls anymore.
Maybe not handsome enough. These are 2 of the best players on Earth, though, at this game right now. And you know, if it was all you guys in the chat, the English audience. I'm sure there'd be a lot of you fangirls out there right now, fangirling for Light or Soulkey, whichever race you're favoring.
I'll be whipping my t-shirt around in the air going, woo!
Oh, I know you would be, Xun. I'm talking about these guys, the English audience. And so, what is Soulkey going to bring out here? I imagine we might see some sort of teched out play from Light. Maybe like a 2-port Wraith, potentially? Something crazy? He's at least not going out for another 8 racks. That's a good sign.
Yeah. It looks like we might actually have a game on our hands since neither player is electing to do anything too crazy cheesy. I imagine Soulkey's aware of the wall-in potential, so there's not really any point in doing an early pull here. So for a second there, I thought he was going to hatch in the main, but he's not. He's actually going for like a 12 pull in the main. Kind of interesting style choice there from Soulkey. Does make you kind of safe against the 8 racks and BBS, as well as giving you a pretty potent Mutalisk timing as well. So I imagine this may be a 2-hatch Muta all-in from him.
Yeah, this does line up nicely for a 2-hatch Muta all-in. I've played around with the 12 pool, 12 gas quite a bit in my own games, and the big danger is getting blocked. If you end up getting blocked by the Terran player, but it doesn't really seem like he's going to do that. He's not sent out an SCV along the top path. There's that first SCV actually heading along the top path now, but he actually wanted to come down here and check. Oh my god, he's going to build a factory over here. Proxy factory down at the bottom. He wants to hop the Vulture over.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do, saying this is kind of crazy. I think Soulkey is sniffing it out, but not like actually smelling it right now, you know what I mean? Like, he knows there's a possibility of this, but hasn't actually smelt it, you know? It's a silent and not yet deadly one from Light. It's a bit of a creeper. Eventually it will reach the nostrils of Soulkey, but it might be too late by the time it does.
Well, he who smelt it dealt it. Light, he's sniffing something. Let's see if he can put his nose to the ground and find himself a win. Vulture going to be made here shortly. Looks like he wants to expand on this bottom side. Since the Vulture's down here, it makes a lot of sense. He's got the wall on the right. Get a very greedy command center behind this teched out play. Only needs like 1 Marine up there on the high ground to keep that safe. Light can get that Vulture in, but Soulkey's definitely going to see it coming, 100%.
Yeah, he'll see it coming, but he's going to be prepared on the wrong side. Like, he's got this sunken coming up where he would expect the Vulture to be coming from. Now he sees the bad news, can still get on top of this Vulture sliding across, but needs to execute this slide over right now because the drones are going to get in the way otherwise and make this much harder to actually get inside the main base. So now Soulkey's kind of prepared for this. There's no way of him seeing up the ramp to shoot the Zerglings until he actually commits to hopping over it, which is a bit of a mistake here from Light that he couldn't get that in so early, because now the Vulture will just die if it does try and get in there. That's why he's elected just to stop trying to attempt that. Hopefully he's forced enough Zerglings. He's thinking that this Vulture's already done its duty and just needs to stay alive on this side of the map to make sure I can protect my expansion back home. Meanwhile, though, we'll be seeing a very crisp timing of that Spire, potentially, if to put some pressure onto Light soon.
Yeah, it looks like gonna fly that factory back home. I thought he might try to fly it into the main and build another Vulture, but Soulkey was on top of it. You know, he flew his Overlord down to check and make sure that wasn't happening immediately. And I was gonna think about opening up this bottom lane, but you know, this is quite smart from Light, honestly. Having the Vulture here means he can't mine these minerals, and so he can't do any pressure to this CC afterwards. And I mean, he can sit here on 1 Marine for a really long time and get into a really high-tech build, right? He's got a armory on the way. He's going to have a Valkyrie out. I think right as Soulkey begins the Mutalisk pressure, Valkyrie's already going to be on the field.
Yeah, and these mineral balls basically are like the minerals on Monty Hall. They have enough yield in them to take a little while to actually mine them out. It does take Soulkey some effort here. We'll be able to bully away this vulture and get that patch slide over quickly to get this third base on the way now, but maybe it's delayed enough. Maybe Light has done the prerequisite amount of slowdown required to make this Valkyrie play really strong. He's got the turrets just coming up now, so maybe these 5 mutas won't find much.
Got a bunker down here, but without any Marines to put in there, it's not going to be very useful. Valkyrie taking some damage, but it does get a nice volley. Should be able to repair that, and with the second Valkyrie out already, it's looking a little rough for Soulkey. Trying to dive in here and do anything is not looking very tenable. Oh, immediate evolution chamber. Hydralisk Den behind this. As soon as he sees the Valkyrie, I'm taking notes, Xun.
Yeah, I mean, that is the metagame. Like, if you know they're going Valkyries, if it's possible, you want to transition right away into Lurkers. I mean, the theory kind of speaks for itself. Valkyries don't detect things, and they don't kill Lurkers. So if you do have Lurkers and they've got nothing but Bio and Valkyries, they just can't really kill you. And they also might not have enough resources to stop you from killing them as well. So it is a very good play to go straight into that Lurker play as soon as you can identify the Valkyrie.
Light doesn't really have any tools to scout Soulkey for the moment, so oh my god, these Valkyrie hits are insane. Holy, everything dies. All of the Scourge die. He was hoping to maybe get a Valkyrie, but 3 Valkyries is where the damage really starts to add up. And yeah, he doesn't really know what's going on with Soulkey right now, so he's preparing for everything. Having 3 bunkers seems like overkill, but when you can't see what your opponent's up to, it really is necessary to over-prepare for something all in.
Right, and this might be a even a Hydra Defiler kind of style from Soulkey. He's getting a very quick Queen's Nest Evolution Chamber. It looks like he's setting up for the super late game potential on this map, and maybe wants to expand westward from here and like get 4 or 5 bases online and try and overwhelm Light with the use of Hydralisk and Defilers. You'll probably see more and more macro hatcheries come out from him soon as well. This could be really a good game from Soulkey, actually. I don't think he's going to be able to do any damage to Light anytime soon. Looks like Light wants to do some kind of tank push. We'll have to wait and see if he's got enough to make that work. That means that he's going to be trying for a pre-consume timing of around about like 9 to 10 minutes and trying to kill Soulkey before those Defiers are actually out and able to utilize their upgrades to actually stop the threat completely. So maybe Light can get in there right before that timing.
Look at this. He's hiding his tank. He doesn't want to reveal that. Doesn't want to let Soulkey know that he's going for a tank timing. And so is just going to bring Marines up into the main base to deal with that one Ling. Getting rid of these mineral patches, obviously very important. Those are a hindrance to army moving down and out of this main base. Here are more barracks coming online, and tanks have been continually produced. He has halted that production here for a moment. Only need about 3 tanks to really put on the pressure. But he does possibly need a science vessel out here. Having that science vessel makes this a lot more robust and also takes away the possibility of walking into a lurker trap.
Right, that's the main thing here, is Light doesn't want to get a whole position lurkered into oblivion right now.
For sure, and those lurkers are out on the map, and Light's got to be a little careful moving this far forward so quickly. If he walked into a bunch of lurkers right now, he would be in a lot of trouble. There's the lurkers setting up on the high ground. Soulkey not going to set up that trap, rather just wants to buy a little bit of time for himself. He knows that Light is not far, and he's planning to do some sort of attack, so just buying any amount of time for that Defiler to get started, and that's going to make a world of difference for Soulkey. Even just sitting here on the high ground is fine. He's going to run forward, though. Oh, my gosh.
Ooh.
Pretty crazy
trying to buy
here.
as much time as possible here by shoving Light back. He knows there's like a minute that he's got to buy with borrowing and unborrowing and forcing sieges and forcing Light to keep re-engaging his arm. He tries this like shuffle back and then push forward technique to try and buy extra time without giving up the high ground. So right now he's maintaining control of the high ground. Does fight one of those Valkyries as well. Finally, though, needs to tuck tail and run to the safety of these spread out sunken colonies. He knows that there's still like a good 30-40 seconds he needs to buy to make sure he's not just going to die here to Light, but I think that he's barely done enough to Light to slow this down. I think he'll be okay here.
Very nice stalling overall, and Soulkey, you know, using that mischance. 50% mischance is a lot with the slow speed of attack from these tanks. If he just misses a few shots, he is going to be able to buy a lot of time. There is the Defiler. It's very close to having a consume upgrade. Some Overlords are going to end up dying here as the Valkyries do their work, and Irradiate comes down. The Lurkers have to back up for another second, but there it is. He does have Dark Swarm, so hanging on here, and this game will continue.
Now, there is a dropship in this top right corner of the map here saying maybe, just maybe, can get into this advantage, but Soulkey is just ready everywhere. There's a pair of Scourge floating above this little high ground cliff edge. If Light reacts quickly, maybe he can still get in there with the dropship, but I don't think so. Soulkey reacts quickly enough and does snipe that. That's a big painful loss there for Light. Like 10 supply down the drain for a pair of Scourge. It doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't feel good at all. Light failed in his tank push, wasn't quick enough, and he ends up losing his dropship as well. Now going to be pushed back even further. Soulkey getting his feet firmly planted underneath him, and he's going to take this one late, guys. We're going to have a strong showing between these two finally after two very quick back-to-back games.
Yeah.
We're going to get a nice late game between the Light and Soulkey. That's what we were hoping for.
We see more factories being put down here by Light. I think he identifies the possibility of the Hydra Defiler, and he knows he probably needs three factories worth of tanks, and then instead just going to be doing a full-on mech switch by floating all the barracks out. He knows the dire nature of the situation, and the only way he's going to win is in a super late situation where he's able to get a full-on mech switch underway. But Soulkey is going to be putting a lot of counter pressure onto Light. He sees the mine upgrade, so he probably can sniff out that Light wants to go for this kind of transition right now. He'll know for sure once he sees the floating barracks, but Light is going to try and get this third base online. If he can somehow just hang on for a couple of minutes here, eventually he'll have enough of a mech army that he can start to fight back Soulkey. But it's going to be a little bit of a time coming before he's actually feeling confident in this series again.
This is one of my favorite plays in Terran versus Zerg. The lift all your barracks and fly out while switching into mech play. It's so cool. It really is iconic for StarCraft Brood War. Such a unique thing that really no other RTS has. Look at all the buildings scattered around the map, just floating over like massive Warren husks or hulks. Oh my god, really? Wait, hold on.
Oh, jeez.
I was having a thought there, but oh god, Light just throws everything into that lurker position and loses his vessel right as I was finishing my thought there, Xun.
I mean, this is not how you mech transition. You need to keep the SK Terran units alive while you transition. If they die too quickly, then suddenly you haven't had enough time to build up a tank count, and you fall flat on your face. And this is what might happen to Light here. I actually don't feel like he's feeling super hard about this position as it stands. Currently even on supply, which is very Soulkey favored. Even got a beautiful plague on those tanks as well. He's going to have to send them back home to repair them up. Has another dropship coming up to pick off this fourth base that's just come online. So as long as he can get a kill on that, I would say maybe this is a playable game state for him, but still pretty rough.
Still pretty darn rough. Looks like, yeah, he may be able to shut this down. Maybe a run by here as well. No, that's a very good position. Ooh, queens are being made by Soulkey, and he just spotted that. So really big scout, actually, kind of revealing what the plan is, the game plan from Soulkey, coming up with a bunch of lings. My gosh, is he actually going to clear this? Damn, he does clear that out. Marines really haven't been upgraded much, I guess, since he is going for this mech switch.
Right, yeah. He does kill this other hatchery at the 6. There's a bit of compensation there. You know, keeping Soulkey on 4 bases is a lot better than letting him get 5. Zerg usually, though, is expecting to lose one of those expansions. That's why they double expand in the way that they do. They just need one of them to be successful. And with that queen switch is going to be kind of problematic for Light. He just needs to wait for 2 minutes, and he's got enough energy on all of those to broodling the tanks. He needs to somehow find those queens and start EMPing them, but he lost so many vessels for free. That's going to be a very unlikely situation. He's got such a good scout on the map, though, of how many buildings and mines and units are spread. He will be able to see pretty much anything coming coming his way. Tries to get in there and snipe this Defiler at the 4th base location. I'm not successful in doing so, but it's killing a few of these drones and siphoning off some of the economy of Soulkey. But look at the supply. Still ahead is Soulkey right now, which does really seem to indicate a favorable position for him.
Oh, for sure. Having that supply lead at this point, crazy that Soulkey's been able to make that happen. Another base is coming up for Light. If he manages to lock down 4 bases, it's super hard for the Zerg player to kind of end the game. The Terran can just kind of sit there and build up tanks for an insanely long time on 4 base, and eventually he's going to come out, you know, with +3, maybe even +1 armor as well, and it is incredibly hard to fight that. Now with Queens, it's absolutely doable, but it's still going to require a lot of micro, and an EMP could spell disaster. In fact, another base just got taken. Look at Light expanding all over the place. Kind of wild.
Yeah, he's doing a nice little vulture run by as well, utilizing this high pathway along the top right corner of the map. You can sneak your units all the way around there. Kind of reminds me of Heartbreak Ridge or something. There is 2 Sunkens set up in this natural expansion, though, of Soulkey, so very difficult for those vultures to find damage. They would need to get a few more vultures down there to just shoot the drones under the tentacle spines, hitting them. I don't know, man. Like, this is looking rough for Light, but he is getting this 5th base underway. Like, if maybe he can just not die and just split the map in half, eventually he's going to trade better and better. It's just going to take him some time to get there. What I'm really worried about is these Queens. There's like almost no way of Light actively hunting these down and getting an EMP off, and Soulkey's reacting very quickly to his attempts, like just quickly saving the Defiler of a Dark Swarm here. Doesn't try and Dark Swarm the rest of the mineral line. I'm really surprised by that from Soulkey. Like, he's got enough energy on that Defiler to also swarm the other side of his mineral line, and didn't do that, so he still lost quite a few drones.
It's funny, Light using the Dark Swarm to his advantage, going underneath it and firing at the other mineral line. Oh god, these Queens coming forward.
Oh,
I don't see an
geez.
EMP. Wait, there's the vessels. Can he actually get one? Oh, he's got some Irradiates, but Irradiate's not going to stop these from casting, and the Hydras are coming forward. He is going to siege up here. Does have a few mines in the way, a few Goliaths on this right-hand side as well, but the trade is looking very good. Look at the supply jumping up for Soulkey, while Light supply kind of diminishes here, and his tank count falls by the wayside. A Defiler pushes forward. He's going to set up this Dark Swarm. No way Light can hang on to this 5th base. It's just not tenable.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult to do that, and I mean, Irradiate is like the second choice of dealing with the Queens. If you can't EMP them, at least Irradiate them on the exit so they can't just come back and broodling you again in like 2 or 3 minutes time. He is barely hanging on by a thread to this base, though. Maybe, just maybe, Light can still make it work. There is a big supply lead for Soulkey right now. He's going to keep the pressure on. More and more Hydra Fighter play. He'll be making his way downtown to this high ground position now in the center of the map. We'll be able to cycle up towards the natural 3rd here of Light and do a bit of a multi-pronged assault, forcing Light to split his forces to defend and try and isolate those tanks in small enough numbers that he can still get cost-efficient trades.
This is so scary, what we're seeing out of Soulkey. He's simultaneously going for Broodlings, but also bringing along Scourge to start sniping these vessels. He knows his weakness. It's got to be that EMP, and so getting rid of the vessels is just going to make it so much harder for Light to get that win condition. Yeah, here he comes, just going to snipe these. Oh, he gets both of the vessels, and now there's no availability for that spell. Soulkey's going to take out this 5th base, and Light will just have to fall back. Really nothing he can do about it.
And one EMP could be enough of a tempo swing to make Light fine in this game, but as it stands, he's not been able to find it, and now we even see some pressure on this Troy Gates being pushed in by some Hydras as well. As one tank supporting that, while he's also trying to hang on to his 5th base right now. Soulkey just needs to kill SCVs and make this as much of a nightmare position. He's got his Queens. He could infest the command center here as well if he gets it down to half. Light knows that, wants to trickle up the repair on that as much as possible. Still finding brooding connections on a lot of these tanks as well. They're falling by the wayside. There's not enough army here to protect this. All these tanks are going to be broodling down, and Soulkey might be getting this infested command center.
Infest, come on, infest it, infest it. Soulkey.
Come on, you want to see it? Come on.
Don't do me dirty, Soulkey. Come on, buddy.
Come on.
Come on, buddy. Oh my gosh. All right, we're having some drops over here on the top right. He's going to set some tanks up on high ground. Now, this is a pretty strong position, but I imagine there's some queens that might have something to say about this.
Yeah. I mean, he is going to put on some pressure here, but he's got so many queens waiting in the wings. There's not been enough irradiates, not been enough EMP attempts on hunting down these queens. And this is the problem with this game state, is if you don't play an active role in hunting down these queens, they will eventually outscale you. These vulture attacks are nice, but they're nothing in terms of the value that these queens broodlings are providing to Soulkey long term. So if you can't actively hunt down these queens with cloaked wraiths or an EMP or just monstrous amounts of irradiate or something, eventually the Zerg is going to outscale against you.
Man, if only he had invested, instead of into those triple drops, get EMP out a little bit quicker. Even going for some wraiths, you can get wraiths and cloak and just go and, you know, scan around, find where the queens are hiding and run in and start sniping them down. You can get a lot of queen kills very quickly if they're not paying close attention to those. So unfortunately, he doesn't make that happen. Now Hydras are pushing into this fourth base. Again, on 4 bases, you can still hold out for a long time as the Terran player. It's just looking worse and worse with the supply advantage growing ever larger and more scary for Soulkey. He's tracking down this army, even has a Defiler in there. You really need to target that down, or the Dark Swarm's going to come in and really ruin your day. Here it is, Dark Swarm on top of these tanks, and this should be it.
I mean, this is kind of crazy because Soulkey has like outclassed him in both the maneuver warfare style that Light was trying to leverage against him, and he's also beating Light in the attritional state of affairs and winning in terms of the tug of war as well. We see another attempt here from Light. 3 dropships up in this top right to try and get on top of this expansion. Does snipe the Nidus Canal. Maybe he can knock out this base, but at what cost? He's going to start to lose some more of his expansions as well. He's mined out in his main and natural, so this will put him down to just 1 mining base if Soulkey does take this base out at the 9 o'clock position.
Come on, Soulkey. Where's the queen, buddy?
Yeah, he's not going for it.
Disappointed me again. It's all right. This guy playing absolutely out of his mind today. Gonna go ahead and take care of those tanks. Now what are you gonna do, Light? Those tanks, I mean, that drop isn't very useful once the tanks are gone from there. The Goliaths are certainly not gonna do the same job. And so he will be able to close this one out. GG, Soulkey goes forward to the round of 8. No surprise there.
Yeah, absolutely no one is probably surprised by that. He's just playing out of his mind in recent seasons, and we're going to have Light join us in that finals match. But who is it going to be against? Is Scan somehow going to surprise us all and take out Barracks in that losers match? We're going to have to find out soon, guys. I'm kind of curious how Scan is going to stack up against these Terrans.
Well, our first match on Death Valley. What'd you think, Xun?
Pretty fun map.
Crazy map, yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit sad to see that Light wasn't able to jump that vulture over the mineral line. Really did falter there, but his follow-up seems strong. Just Soulkey seems stronger in every way. He's just such a monster, really, in any sort of late game macro.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can do about this style if you can't proactively deal with the queens. Like, you will just lose on paper every single time. These irradiates are good, but this is like the compensation spells that you need to be having each time they come in for broodlings, so they can't just come back again in 2 minutes time to rinse and repeat. Ideally, you want a big EMP preemptively on them as they come in or something, or go and hunt them down and EMP them. But if you can't do that all game long and they just keep stacking up energy over and over again, mainly because of how well Soulkey's playing, his task switching is so good. He's microing on so many different fronts. Like, at this point in the game, he's got 145 supply to 115. That's absolutely insane that he's able to maintain this much of a deficit for Light by just constant aggression, constant pressure. And that's how you play against mech. You keep the game as scrappy as possible, and you never allow them to consolidate all their forces into one location like they want to.
It's really important, too, against mech that you figure out what the game plan is from Light. I think he did that exactly, right? If this was a crazy, 3 base or 4 base timing push from Light, if he was just going to go for it, it might have been hard to get those broodlings out. But
Yeah.
he knew that Light was just going to sit back and be really defensive. And so investing a huge amount of money into those queens. He made something like 20 queens that game, maybe even more, maybe 20, 30 queens
Yeah,
were actually
25-ish
produced.
queens. Yeah, kind of crazy. But this
That's
is
not
how
an
you
army.
play.
It's not an army to fight his army. That only does damage and gets value if you've got a lot of time on your hands. And really, that's
Right.
the game that Light was going for. So Soulkey found the right decision. He found the right composition to handle him properly.
Yeah, usually you're kind of like hedging your bets a little bit and you're sitting around like 12 to 18 queens and trying to make sure you got a little bit more invested into your army. But if you can get away with 2 control groups of queens, it's so efficient. Like every 2 or so minutes, you're going in and killing like 12 to 24 tanks. Or you do it every minute and you kill 12 tanks every minute because you've got the other control group waiting, building up their energy for round 2. And just coming in waves like that makes it so difficult for the Terran to get anything done. Unless they're proactively hunting down those queens or reacting to them properly, there's just not much they can do once they get on the back foot like that. It's the onus is kind of on the Zerg to keep the pressure on in those situations and never allow breathing space for the Terran to recuperate. And Soulkey did an absolute clinic on that.
For sure. It's very difficult to control everything and get that massive army into position to take advantage of the snipes with the broodlings, right? You could see how smooth he was coming forward with that first wave of queens. He just hits it in that replay we just saw, hits all of those tanks, and then follows up immediately with not only Hydra's Lings, but also having Defilers in the mix as well. There's just so many moving pieces in that army, and Soulkey, the only ones who can actually pull that all together and break a player the caliber of Light with an attack like that. Really amazing play from him.
It's an absolute nightmare to execute that kind of style that we saw from Soulkey, but the headache that it causes to the Terran player if you can execute it is just also worth it, saying. And yeah, having lurkers and defilers means that as soon as you can get a position where there's a dark swarm down and a borrowed lurker down, if they haven't got irradiate, they're just not breaking that position, and suddenly you've got zone control and can keep levying your units in that area over and over again and whittling down the Terran and creating ladders made out of chaos for you to climb, essentially.
How many more ASLs does this man need to win before we give him Bonjour status, Xun? This guy absolutely
he already is
deserving that title right now. This guy he's so good, guys.
Yeah, really is. Like, he is basically on like Flash's level, but as a Zerg right now. It's kind of insane what he's able to do. And the fact that he's performing this well after getting that triple hat trick win under his belt really does make me think that he's kind of immune to some of the pitfalls of some of these other athletes. It's very common that you get these Olympic medalists or whatever. They spend so long training for those gold medals that when they start pouring in, they kind of, go into a slump of depression where they've lost their motivation or what they were aiming for, and it doesn't quite feel the same in their process. But it doesn't seem like that for Soulkey so far. Seems like he's just about the money and performing well, and he couldn't give a rat's about whatever gold medals he may or may not get. He just wants to play out of his mind, and he's definitely doing that.
Well, Soulkey got nothing to worry about. His only regret was that match versus Light with the incredibly close hold and bust from Light. Dude, that was a wild game as well. A lot of wild games today, guys, but we're far from finished. Plenty of TVT games still remain. Scan versus Barracks should be a lot of fun. And then whoever wins that series is going to go up against the Light in the decider of the finals. I imagine it's going to be Barracks, but let's see what Scan can bring out for us.
Yeah, I really do want to see a strong showing for him, regardless of what happens. I have to imagine it will be a Barracks victory, especially in the best of 3. But would like to see some good builds prepared by our challenger Scan here. It's his first ASL round of 16 ever, so we don't expect the world from him, but any kind of good performance would be nice.
Oh, for sure. I'm a big fan of Scan. He's got a special place in my heart. But with that, guys, we're going to take a short break. 2.5 minutes. We'll be back right after this. All right, Barracks taking the stage. Scan is his opponent. He looks pretty happy about it. I think he's feeling pretty confident that he'll be going to the final match tonight. But does Scan have something surprising to throw at him?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you never know, right? He's definitely planned for a lot of TVT tonight. He knew there was a strong chance that he would have to rely on only Terran versus Terran to make it out of this group with just how good Soulkey is. Hopefully, he's got something really strong prepared for us. It looks like the first map is going to be on Polestar. We've only seen that map a couple of times so far in the tournament. It's a very strong up-and-coming macro map.
All right, guys, we're getting started. Scan versus Barracks, game number 1. It's about to begin. Polestar is our map. Let's get it. Here he is, Barracks. Spawning bottom right. Scan over here, top left. Orange and brown. Gonna be a little bit difficult to see on the minimap, so switching now to blue and red. There he is, Barracks in the red, Scan in the blue. That's a bit better.
Yeah. Saw a little bit of nerves there from Scan, just blowing out some of the anxiety he might be feeling on stage right now. It's so hard to play at your best when you've got the lights, the cameras, and the crowd right in your face while you're trying to perform. You've got a camera there just above your screen, like eyeballing your face as well. To block out the exterior world and to only focus on your game requires like Zen-like mastery that you usually only see in like temple monasteries. They do sometimes have these gamers that have been in the ASL so many times that they're cool cucumbers, but it takes quite a long period of time of showing up to this event before you actually start having like Terminator levels of focus.
Really do need to have that complete focus, like you're sitting at your desk at home playing a normal ladder session or streaming with your friends. When you're completely relaxed and able to get into that full flow state, is when you're going to be able to play at the absolute pinnacle. Now, as he throws it down his Barracks here in the natural, no gas yet from Scan. Okay, there it is. Actually, he is going to take his gas. I was looking at this Barracks placement and thinking maybe there was going to be a chance. He starts off with a CC gasless fast expand and opts for a wall, but both players going to be matching their builds.
Yeah. I think bunkerless would be an idea here, especially on this macro map, but both players electing for that 12 gas. I think the mineral optimization ever so slightly better for Barracks going forward here. Seemed like Scan was a little bit slow in getting that first 5th SEV that he built to the mineral line. So overall, a slightly better split in mineral optimization from Barracks going forward, which means, you know, a negligible speed up on when the factory's going down here, like just a couple of seconds quicker than Scans, as we can see.
Every second matters in this game, but TVT is much more of a strategy-focused matchup. There are little advantages that you can get, of course, early game. Having an extra vulture or just having a little bit of a lead ahead of your opponent can make a difference, but it's the matchup that makes the least difference having an extra expansion or having an extra SCV or two. Positioning is so much more of a factor.
Yeah, you can abuse like high mechanics with very good decision making, but you have to pair that with some quite in-depth strategy. You can't just outmuscle your opponent so easily in this matchup unless you've already got a crazy significant lead, which doesn't usually happen.
Definitely not at the highest level. Both players have their fundamentals down. They're just trying to get into this flow state and hit their build perfectly. Try to feel each other out and what each player is going for. Barracks is going to get right inside here and see everything. So he has a very good idea of what Scan is up to, but mirrored builds thus far. Nothing out of the ordinary. Going to go right into a machine shop now that he's seen the build. Barracks could be doing anything, though. Scan hasn't had this same luxury of scouting the whole base.
Right, it's kind of weird that Barracks was able to get in there with the scout. Usually if you have these early 2 Marines with good positioning, you should be able to get that SCV away from scouting you. A little bit of a mistake there from Scan. Does kind of give a bit of an advantage to Barracks optimizing his own build. He saw there was only 1 gas mining for Scan at that present time, so he knew the possible build order ranges of Scan as a follow-up, so we'll be able to optimize himself with that slightly faster machine shop, and knowing that his Vulture will just barely be in time to defend against the Scan, though trying to find compensation by getting 2 Marine kills and getting inside the enemies. Does miss that 1 fragmentation shot on the Vulture on the exit vector, but doesn't matter, still manages to clear that up. He did get a bit of scouting information, though. Getting up and seeing that 2nd factory and that there's no early 3rd factory right now is a little bit of scouting intel to work with for Scan.
So the one nice thing about killing those Marines is that you won't be able to deny the Barracks. This Barracks floating in from Scan is going to be able to see everything, and there's nothing he can do to push it away. Whereas Barracks, I mean, his Barracks is going to fly in here and start to get shot. Eventually, he will have to send that to the side. He can't keep this here forever. Oh, God. Scan making a bit of a mistake. You know you lost your early Vulture there, Scan. Why are you pushing out on the map and getting overwhelmed here? It's just a fact of life. He will have less Vultures because of that early throwaway Vulture there.
He is going for Vulture War style right now. He has got a 3rd factory, does Scan. Only 2 factories available for Barracks. If he identifies this is a 3 factory Vulture play, he can just make a Goliath or 2 and then play defensively to make up for the deficit, as well as walling, or do a semi-wall in the natural to block some surface area on those Vultures getting in as well. Then he can also just, you know, use the defender's advantage along with some repair to stabilize the game state. But maybe Scan can still get in here and do some damage with this 3 factory Vulture. Still might be a tough timing to hit, though. Sees the timings of these additional factories being made by Barracks. He knows he's got like a window of like a minute or 2 to make this work.
I don't think he can get in here, Xun. I mean, he has that extra factory, but that's only pumped out a few Vultures, and he already lost 2 Vultures. Right. So there's really not a good way for him to have an advantage in terms of that number.
Nobody's Goliaths.
Plus, with the Goliaths, it's just not going to bode well for Scan. Maybe he can come over here and just set up mines, though. I think that might be his compensation for now.
Yeah, he can get some map control with the mines, although it looks like Barracks wants to be proactive and come out on the map himself a little bit. Only thing activating the mines are these Goliaths, but Goliaths are actually okay at helping shoot down mines as they pop up as well. The mines only have the 20 HP, so you can like 2-shot them with the Goliaths and 1-shot them with the Vultures, so you can still kind of confidently move out against mines as Barracks here. Just won't want to aim move across the map is all.
Oh, trying to get on top of this ramp, but Barracks immediately jumps up the ramp. He's going to take a pretty decent trade against this, and there's no way to run. You cannot turn and run against this. More Vultures come up, but there might be just more sacrifices for the pile. Yeah, Scan sends out these Vultures to try and swing the fight, but even more dead Vulture bikes here left on the field. Scan going to be pushed all the way back, and Barracks is on the warpath.
Yeah, but Barracks has that kind of like glazed over expression he usually has, whereas like he's completely wide-eyed and never blinks, and that's where he's always playing his absolute A game. It's almost like he enters Terminator mode and stops being a human temporarily and plays absolutely out of his mind. And he's so good at these little Vulture engagements. Like your mechanics are so easily abused in Vulture Wars. The player with the better execution usually has an advantage when it's Vulture on Vulture, and we saw that there from Barracks, even though he wasn't attempting to go for Vulture Wars.
It was a good idea from Scan, right? He was sitting over here on this high ground. He saw that Barracks maybe wanted to go towards that southern ramp, so he tried to preempt that, get out ahead of it. Oh, God, a lot of these Vultures are actually dancing on top of each other and not firing. Another rough trade here for Scan. He is going to try and turn and fight this now. Good target firing on either side, trying to do the maximum damage. It really seems like Barracks just has a little bit more, but in the end, it turns out completely even. Scan and Barracks fall back away from each other, and it's starting to look like a split map here in the middle with neither player having an advantage in this Vulture War.
Yeah, it's really difficult to get the target firing going your way in the Vulture Wars. You kind of want like 8 or so Vultures target firing individuals and the rest kind of like two-shotting stuff down. So far, it looks like Barracks was getting the better end of the stick. This is the first trade that was kind of going Scan's way. Supplies are pretty even right now, actually slight lead for Scan. Up until this point, though, Barracks had done a better job of getting out ahead of him. He exploded from 2 to 4 factories, so he was able to scale with Scan's own count of factories right now. Both players kind of hesitant to transition into making anything but Vultures for the time being. They need to make sure that they can scale alongside their opponent. Another Scan coming in, wants to put on the pressure now, utilizing the Goliaths on the ground as a little bit of extra defense and meatiness to the ground forces of Barracks, keeping Scan at bay. It looks like there is starting to become a critical mass of Vultures for Scan, where he can start to overwhelm this position if Barracks isn't careful, though.
Wow, that is a lot of Vultures here for Scan. He actually should be able to overwhelm this. Yeah, no way to run away. And Scan is just going to push the issue here. There are those Goliaths, which are... Oh my god, that mine connection. Oh, completely swinging the fight there. My goodness, was that a good move from Barracks. Those mechanics on full display.
Yeah, that's kind of wild that he managed to make that trade go his way. Scan definitely should have probably won that fight and wasn't able to do so. This third base timing for Barracks is definitely far superior. Even the science facility coming down pretty early on to make sure he has a fairly crisp +2 timing as well. Already getting the gas at this third base, whereas Scan is not even finished building that command center. Does kind of put the writing on the wall there, unfortunately, a little bit for Scan. I think eventually Barracks will get the better end of the stick after all is said and done, but there is a lot of map control for Scan to work with. He's got a lot of mine spread. Has still got a potential of winning the Vulture fight here, so maybe, just maybe, he can turn this into a favorable position utilizing his mine superiority.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he hasn't been able to slip any Vultures past, even though Barracks has been pretty fluid on the map, like going around everywhere. I thought that maybe Scan would be able to slip 3 Vultures over down towards that third base, but he hasn't been able to. He's been trying to catch Vultures over and over again from Barracks. He's been trying to win these fights with good surrounds and just overwhelming numbers, but none of it's really worked out. And now Barracks moving through the middle of the map. Oh, mine not quite connecting there. Scan gonna get over onto this high ground, but immediately sees what his opponent is working with and decides to back away. Barracks supply looking stronger and stronger. Scan will get that third base online, and like I said earlier, having a base up a little bit ahead of your opponent in this matchup, not quite as impactful as some of the other ones, but the positioning is also looking good for Barracks. Here comes a drop moving over towards the top left. He's going to go ahead and drop into that main base while pushing the issue here in the middle. How's Scan going to deal with this? Only a few Vultures back at home and a Wraith on the way to actually kill that dropship here soon.
He's actually got 3 Vultures just waiting for that to start unloading, so he should be able to deal with this pretty okay, although he does manage to get the full unload before any connections occurred, so we'll be at least killing like 2 or 3, maybe 4 SCVs for his effort. Really just wants to distract Scan so that he can push into this 9 o'clock position, though. This is pretty good from Barracks, although Scan does have quite enough meatiness in his own army to stop this. He does lose a lot of those SCVs because he was taking so much time in engaging the push of Barracks. They didn't come up here into 9 o'clock to actually deal with that quickly enough, so definitely Barracks getting the better end of the stick here. Look at the supplies, like Barracks ahead by 35. Very indicative of his superior mechanics in this matchup. Scan has pretty good decision making. He's just not able to keep up with Barracks, who plays at over 400 APM and only blinks once a minute.
More Vultures coming down here to try and assist this tank line from Scan, but the trades are going ever further in the favor of Barracks. One tank does fall by the wayside there. Barracks giving that away for free. A transition into Wraiths is incoming. Eventually Scan will have enough Wraiths to maybe do something, but what exactly is the plan when he's at such a deficit? It's going to be hard to put that together and actually make a game out of this one when he's fallen this far behind already.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough one for Scan. The problem is that even if he does win this game, it's going to be a long time in the making. He has to plan for the super late. Like, he's not winning this game in 10 minutes. He's winning it in like 20, 30 minutes time, even if he does win it at all. So now the writing on the wall will become a little bit clearer for Scan. He needs to just somehow turn this into a better game state, split the map as evenly as possible, and try and weather the storm of Barracks right now and hold his siege tank lines. But there's enough vultures in reserve for Barracks that he might be able to still break open some of these positions of Scan and wrap around and sneak in vultures to this 9 o'clock like this. This is really good for Barracks. I'm kind of surprised that Scan is allowing this to occur. Definitely a bit of a poor setup situation from Scan. He knows that this is a potential and should react to this and have some units preemptively here to deal with this, and just didn't. And that's a lot of SCV losses, making an even bigger deficit for him to overcome, as now Barracks is starting to shove the square peg through the circle hole in the center of the board.
A lot of tanks moving forward, and Scan just doesn't have much to answer with. +2 is done, and so taking this moment to push his advantage as far as possible. Barracks here takes the high ground outside of Scan's natural. There still are some lanes to move his units through, and so Scan will not be completely contained here just yet, but like you're saying, writing is on the wall. Scan, his back is against it. He can't even read it at this point.
Yeah, the letters are about to fall for him soon if he makes any missteps as well. Has got this air superiority going for him. If he can somehow avoid these, pockets of Goliaths and can, melt away at these tanks slowly but surely, maybe there's a way of him, evening things out. It just looks so bad for him right now. It's 40 supply advantage for Barracks. He has positional advantage as well. He's encroaching upon this 9 o'clock position, and he's got a contained kind of semi setup on this high ground leading towards the natural third as well. It's a huge positional advantage for Barracks. He's getting more and more SCV kills at this 9 o'clock expansion as well. Eventually, there will also be +2 attack on these tanks. There is already +2 attack on these tanks, sorry, but for Scan, I don't think he has +2 just yet, so he's not even able to trade on the ground efficiently, so he's kind of just been on the back foot in every metric.
And there's just barely enough Goliaths coming up to support these tanks over here. The Wraith play is great. I love it from Scan, finding ways to try and bring this one back, but he is really struggling right now. These +2 tanks are doing so well, and the Goliaths... Okay, the Goliaths die. Hold on. Goliaths are going to die, which means he can come forward and start to hit these tanks once again. 4 dropship heading towards his main, though. This could be the death blow.
Yes, all of his army's out of position when this happens, he might just straight up die. There's a couple of Wraiths here for Scan. If maybe he gets them right on top of these dropships as they're coming in, there's a little bit of hope for him, but I don't know about that, guys. He needs to turn his army around right now and get on top of these dropships with the Wraiths and try and snipe at least one of them before it can unload. He's not getting those connections, though. Gemini Missile's not able to find that, and he will be getting the unload on the other side of this natural third, which is a really annoying position to entrench yourself in as Barracks, and he's just setting up for a 1-2 punch. He wants Scan to pull back some of his armies so that he can now crush the tank lines on the front, which are left undefended. GG is finally called from Scan. He just taps out. It's too much Terran to handle for him, and Barracks is easily taking him out.
Well, pretty intense TVG there. Barracks gets the momentum and runs away with that game. A few small mistakes there from Scan, but I liked some of the ideas he was working with. Execution just wasn't quite there. Still has another shot at it, though.
Yeah, you notice how Barracks has got like a Windows key for his space bar, so he doesn't accidentally whack his space bar and like go to the last alert in game.
I kind of wonder about that sometimes. Do pro players use spacebar?
There was a thought. There was a thought process that spacebar was good, like it helped you react quicker to things. But I think the thought process eventually ended up that it was bad because you can't guarantee that it's going to go to the last thing you want it to. So if like 2 things occur and you want to go to the first thing that happened, it won't. It will go to the second thing that occurred. So it doesn't give you as much control. It's kind of like when you build overlords. Like if you just do SV right as the overlord is the lava is popping out, and you build 2 overlords by mistake, you don't want that to happen.
That's right. All right. We're getting ready No breaks here, guys, today for us. We're just going to jump straight on into this next game. Eclipse. The Scan versus Barracks. And so it begins. Barracks here in the top right. And here he is on stage now. Scan bottom left. Looking a bit nervous. Biting his bottom lip. He's feeling the pressure here today, but he's still, no matter what happens, has our undying love. This guy and our affection goes out to him. So impressed with how he's played to get this far. If he manages to take one game off of Barracks, I'll be a very happy camper.
Oh, absolutely, Saiyan. In fact, I'm not even looking for the win. I'm just looking for one solid performance. Like, last game was a little bit shaky from Scan. Could maybe play a little bit better than that. He definitely seemed a little bit nervous going into these games. I think he has kind of resigned the fact that he's not going to be making it out of these group stages, and that's affecting his play a little bit, knowing that he's really up against it and he's probably going to be eliminated. Makes it even harder to play at your best.
Sometimes you do cap yourself performance-wise by just giving yourself low expectations, right? You don't want to feel disappointed, but by thinking that you're not going to make it through, you might actually, miss out on opportunities that might have occurred. Now, I haven't seen many of those so far for Scan. It seemed like he played about as well as he could, given the... Like, it didn't seem like he, missed any big opportunities is what I'm trying to say, where it's like, oh, dude, Scan, you could have won that. Not like a Tyson or something like that we saw in the earlier weeks, right?
Yeah, that was crazy, honestly. Like, I think Tyson got pretty clowned on, rightfully so, by the pros in the Jinjin translated video. And definitely deserved to get clowned on. I mean, that was kind of abysmal. Like, he found the one way to lose the game. Kind of crazy.
Kind of clowned himself, honestly. It's one of those you played yourself type of memes, but that's the way it goes sometimes. These high pressure situations, it's pretty tough to perform.
Oh, absolutely. That's why there's such a wide difference between offline and online events. It's one thing being like the ladder hero that's crushing everyone online. It's another thing to actually show up in person and perform with the cameras and the lights, and a totally different, just the fact that it's not your desk, it's not your computer screen at home with your desk, your setup, how you'll comfortably play usually. It's just a little bit of a foreign environment in every sense of the word that kind of puts you on edge. Unless you've been there a few times before and you've got your nerves under control, it can be rather daunting no matter how good of a gamer you are.
There's also the simple fact that nobody plays like they do on the ladder here in the ASL. They play pretty wild strategies because they want to throw their opponent off. They want to, get under their skin or just undo their expectations, undermine their expectations. Here, Barracks is going to throw down a CC after his factory. Looks like Scan has the same idea, albeit slightly behind in the timings. You can see, once again, Barracks, his mechanics shining through just a little bit here.
It's one of the problems, actually, Sam, between the difference between the Korean and the foreigner scene is that when they see it's not turn rate low, the Koreans on ladder, they just won't even bother playing their best builds against you. They're going to play something a lot more cookie cutter, a lot more simplified, much more fundamental style game that's just designed to, use their task switching to their ability, maximum ability, and crush you that way. And they're not even going to let you get in on the actual timings that they use against the other pros and what have you.
I'll be that as it may. These two have certainly got lots of practice with other Korean pros. They're not playing... They're used to playing turn rate 24, and here in LAN, going to have the absolute best possible experience when it comes to the responsiveness of their units and the smoothness of the game. That's also another factor that has to be taken into account, right? Even being in LAN has a certain feel different from being on ladder, even if it is turn rate 24.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure these guys are more used to that feeling. They've played offline events more often. They have very good internet in Korea, and they play those 24 low games a lot. So maybe they've got a better dialing. But it does feel a lot different when you have absolute LAN latency against each other. Coming in for this Marine kills like before. I don't think he's going to get this other Vulture, though. He can just come in for the repair against that. Wants to take one SCV or two on the exit. Pretty nice that he actually got the second SCV there. Did Barracks, so it's a nice little early mind game victory for him coming in with that Vulture play. Scan is going for a 1-1-1 build right now, so he has a bit of Wraith pressure coming in. He can make non-stop tanks and Wraiths to put on the pressure if he wants to. Does have a very fast armory response from Barracks, though, so I don't think that aggression would be too successful if he did want to attempt that like tank Wraith all-in style of playing. Usually better from him to just try and transition from this point, I imagine. And Barracks has got a fairly early third factory this time around, so probably has no problem in producing enough units here.
Yeah, get like 2-3 SCVs would be fantastic for Scan here. He definitely needs to get at least 2, right? Got to make up for those early losses. Meanwhile,
yeah,
Barracks
but he probably won't.
I was gonna look for at least a second one. Ooh, that's okay. 2 right there. So
okay.
I mean, it's pretty reasonable. He could look for another one. It's gonna be a tiny bit longer before the Goliath is out. He can probably get this Marine as well. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. I mean, Scan, it was looking a little rough for him, losing that early couple of SCVs and a Vulture and Marines there, but the Wraiths, again, do have a lot more viability as the game goes on. They do have a lot more strength than the Goliath play, and that's kind of what Barracks has been forced into now, building these Goliaths and pushing them across the map.
Yeah, usually Goliaths are made in response to something. You don't want to have to make Goliaths. You only make them as a necessity, really. Getting the kill on this Barracks is a little bit annoying for Barracks. Pun unintended. That's going to be saying that a lot this game. Needs that 4th factory underway, does Barracks, and isn't able to do so. So this is a nice little window for Scan that he's killed this Barracks and, you know, does stop the 4th factory timing a little bit here.
Well, Barracks is setting up right in front of Scan's natural. If Scan doesn't break out of here, he could be in quite a bit of trouble. I mean, if he starts to build turrets and really sets this up nicely, it's going to be hard to break that position. Now, some of these Wraiths are going to come in. Have to set up here. Oh gosh, he doesn't have siege mode, Xun. Very late on the siege.
Yeah, and he's got a tank sniped off as well. He had some cloaked Wraiths trying to go to town in the natural expansion of Barracks to try and bully one of the Wraiths down. But now he's getting his face pushed in by this siege contain. And that's in range of the mineral line. He has to pull SCVs back from the mineral line. He is getting some counter damage in that natural expansion. A lot of SCVs have died to those cloaked Wraiths. So there's some compensation for Scan right now, but not an... Oh no, please don't detonate. Oh, that's so much damage as well. Scan's in a lot of trouble right now. He can't really deal with this push very cost efficiently. He's already taken quite significant damage. Even though this Wraith's got a lot of kills on that other side, it doesn't really matter too much. Still a 10 supply lead for Barracks right now, and he's almost in range of pressuring this mineral line in the natural.
One tank back at home to try and keep himself alive. More Vultures are going to come up. He's trying to desperately build some sort of defense. He's got 2 more machine shops coming up, so 3 machine shops here shortly. But look at how many tanks are here, Xun. He's in danger of dying, not to mention getting contained.
Right. I mean, the only thing going for Scan is the fact that he's had to remake this Barracks, so his 4th factory timing is slow, but it doesn't really matter. The positional advantage has been quite extreme for Barracks. It seems like Scan will be able to kind of stabilize and get things going, though. Like, he's not necessarily dead right now, but he does feel desperate to break this contain and knows he can't. I think the problem for Scan right now is that he knows that he has to break this contain in the next few minutes, and if he doesn't, then he's in a lot of trouble.
Absolutely, Xun, and Barracks knows it all too well. He's going to start building turrets. He's got lots of mines. A bunch of SCVs are going to be pulled to try and make this bust work for him. SCVs thrown forward there by Barracks as well, just trying to soak some damage. Sometimes SCVs are the strongest unit in TVT. In fact, a lot of the time they are.
Yeah, I mean, they soak up a lot of those arc-light shot cannon shots, and they're allowing you to also get vision of their tank line, so yours can shoot at maximum range regardless of having any floating buildings or wraiths. Really does help you out a lot in getting a tiny bit of tempo for enough time to siege up and start volleying down the enemy tanks like this. So he is technically going to break out here. Some good use of repair actually as well by Scan. Has equalized the supply and is making significant ground of breaking out and getting control of this lane to his third. So he's not out of this game by any stretch of the word yet.
Wow, that was really well done. Really, really well done by Scan. You got to give it to him.
Yeah.
Pushing out there with just a few scattered SCVs to tank some shots, and yeah, he actually does clear that position, surprisingly enough. You know, no +2 or anything like that. It's not like these are two-shotting down his tanks, so busting through a tank line is definitely doable. This is, honestly, this is a great...
Whoa.
This is
crazy.
Oh, wait, hold on. Go ahead.
Oh, this is crazy what Scan's trying to do. He's trying to like use 2 tanks to defend and go with everything else to the rally point of Barracks right now. This is really unorthodox, really risky, has a very high potential here. If he can somehow get mines and siege tanks containing Barracks while he's distracted at the front, this could be a very tempo swingy favor for Scan, but that means these 2 tanks are pretty much undefended. Barracks is going to break this. If somehow Barracks defends well back at home, it's going to be nightmarish as well, but it's almost like a little base tradey scenario where both players are going to contain one another right now.
Wow, he lost his Barracks as well, by the way, and Scan is not inside the natural. He really should have gone a little harder with this, I think. Yeah. Try to get right inside the natural and start to hit this CC, but he didn't do that. He kind of sieged up outside of range of everything, and now this is just sitting here containing. Whereas, you know, Barracks is busting right through up into the main and dealing massive, massive damage. Gonna go ahead and Scan, try to get rid of these Wraiths. The Wraiths are kind of the only thing keeping Scan alive right now, so he may end up losing that. But he does manage to keep most of the Wraiths alive, but he's losing so many SCVs, dropping down to just 82 supply. He will clear this, I guess, but in the end, how many workers were lost here? So many go down.
Yeah, and he doesn't really do a great job on the other side of the map as well. Like you were saying, didn't even like really push in that deep. So now Barracks can try and break out as well. Oh, those mines could do a lot of damage to those tanks, and they do find some pretty good massive detonations as well. Pretty efficient breakout from Barracks. When all said and done, though, the supplies are pretty even. It's just that this third base is almost finished up for Barracks. So yeah, like on paper, Barracks is still in a really commanding position, and Scan knows that he needs to come out onto the map, but needs to be careful with these mines. They're going to start detonating on his tanks and losing them for free if he's not careful.
Oh my gosh, he cannot be losing even a single tank right now. It's so painful. I'm going to take another big hit there. Oh my gosh, almost losing another tank. Really scary moment there for Scan. He's going to come out and start to repair these up, and he's got another base ready to land, but can't land it just at the moment. He needs to get that base set up. Barracks pushing in, though, trying to turn the screw, trying to get in here before Scan gets into his comfort zone. Focus down this mine. There we go. He does get rid of that mine, and man, I gotta say, Xun, that hold over at the natural would have gone so much better for Scan had he those vultures that were at top center attacking the CC. Had those been over with the tanks, he could have targeted down the mines and maybe held that a little bit better. This game would have been so much simpler for Scan, so much more close for Scan, but as it stands, Barracks has so much momentum. He's coming straight across the map, and I'm not sure that Scan can hold on to this third.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. At the very least, he might risk the vultures running inside like he had on the Polestar map as well. This is the main problem, is he can't spread himself too thin. Like, he's got just barely 2 tanks holding on to this lane into the third base here, but he also needs to hold the main lane towards the east as well. If he doesn't have enough tanks set up there, Barracks can just roll over him, and Barracks knows that. That's why he's got vultures rallied to this position up here to sneak into that 9 o'clock base and get up the SCV line line. He knows he's got an eco advantage and a positional advantage right now. He's trying to abuse that, but so far Scan did a pretty good job of using those Wraiths to keep that all at bay and buying him some valuable production cycle times to squeeze out a few additional units to cover that northern flank and stop any additional vultures squeezing into that third base.
A Wraith play somehow once again keeping Scan alive in this game. I wanted to say earlier, but things got a little bit hectic there, that this was a great example of why Terran versus Terran has become so aggressive and so much shorter than it used to be, is the ability of these guys to break these early tank lines. Like what we saw Scan do with just a few SCVs and those few tanks. I mean, players 10 years ago could only dream of making something like that happen. That was not really a possibility in the minds of Terran players. There's a big surround. He's going to kill a bunch of tanks over here on this high ground. Scan was thinking about maybe taking some space over there, but immediately Barracks getting in on top of him.
Yeah, this is the main problem, is once you've got a lead in this matchup, it's very difficult to get control over additional lanes. Like, you might be able to get a third base, but how do you set up your lanes to your fourth base here? It's just so much ground to cover, and like the Roman Empire, you can only spread yourself so thin before you start to collapse, and this is what we're going to see here. Like, he's actually going to start hitting the CC and the mineral line from the low ground towards this natural fourth location. That means the onus is on Scan to actually make something happen here and break this position.
Yeah, he's got to move quick, and we'll start to lose a lot of SCVs over time, and can't really afford to stop mining here either. With the Barracks, you know, happily mining on 3 and about to be on 4 bases, he's got to be quick and get that mining rolling. Keep that mining rolling here. 10 supply deficit. It's still not a huge deficit. Wait a second. Oh my gosh. This is a huge moment. Coming in and killing all the Wraiths of Barracks. That's crazy. Scan, during all this chaos, keeping up with the production of Barracks, scanning the main over and over again. He sees the Wraith production and he completely shuts it down.
Yeah, I mean, there's no mobility for Barracks to utilize. He has Goliaths to protect his tank lines, but it's very difficult to get Goliaths around the map quickly enough to deal with these Wraiths. They're going to start hitting some of these mineral lines and really siphoning off some of the advantage for Barracks over time and forcing him to task switch, sending Goliaths to defend against those. Maybe, just maybe, Scan can expand to this bottom right, stabilize this game state, and utilize his air superiority to get himself out of this tough position. He is currently caught between a rock and a hard place, or maybe he can get himself out.
It's gonna be a tough sell. Vulture makes its way down here to the bottom right. I really wished, oh gosh, here we go, diving in on top of this army. He's gonna try and push this all back. He's got the Wraiths here to try and help out. The Goliaths are just gonna abandon the position. Finally, he stabilizes with this third base, able to keep that alive. This base down here, though, completely ravaged. All of the SCVs down there were killed. And so that base down in bottom right does not turn out well. Barracks going to push closer to the rally point. Oh, boy. Oh, Scan going to lose a bunch of tanks here. And this rally point going to be completely locked down by Barracks. He needs to come over here and clean this. Yeah. Just creating too many fires. Barracks drives Scan around the map, just controlling him, pulling him like a puppet with strings attached to his limbs. He was not playing his game at all. He was playing to Barracks' tune.
Yeah, I mean, Scan was just a little bit too slow of his decision making, slightly too many nerves. He was playing pretty good overall in how he was breaking out and his execution, but he was just too hesitant to really like capitalize on the decision making skills of Barracks. He's just always in your face. As soon as he smells a tiny bit of weakness, he's sharking around and darts towards that blood in the water and just makes it a nightmare for you. And this is what I was wondering about with Barracks and Light. Is Barracks going to be able to take Light in this best of 3 going into this finals match? Like, this is a much bigger chance for Barracks to take down Light. At best of 1, anything can happen, but in a best of 3, we might be seeing some craziness between Barracks and Light now.
I did call it, Xun. We're gonna have a final, Barracks versus Light. This is gonna be fun, guys. The master takes on the student. Once again, he's going to be facing his protege, Light. Is he going to be happy about that? I'm not sure. He had a really hard time against him in the SCSL. We're going to go to a short break here, guys. 5 minutes before that final TVT. Don't go away. Make sure to like the stream, guys. Soup. SCTVEN. We've been really enjoying the stream so far, so make sure to support it. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay, it's just about time for our last match of the night. Light, who went down in the winner's match. Barracks, ascending from the losers. It's just about time for that decider, guys. These two met in the SCSL finals this previous season, Season 3. Had an epic series back and forth. I won't spoil that result for you guys, but definitely check that out. If you want a little bit more TVT after this. Hey, if you're not done with TVT after all of the TVT we've had today, why don't you go watch that, huh?
Yeah, like, I bet this has not gone as long as you guys have expected it to. We definitely weren't pulling your leg when we said the game has changed a lot, but we're going to be jumping straight into it. It seems the Terran versus Terran finals match between Barracks and Light. Game number 1. The map is going to be Radion. Let's get it on, guys.
Here we are. Looks like Barracks. Top right. On stage now, on screen now, there is Light. Down here in the bottom right. Vertical spawns, vertical positions. Light's already got a win over Barracks so far, but he needs to get 2 more to make his way into the next round. A round of 8 awaits. One of these 2 will go home, and one will continue on. Actually, they'll both go home, and the one who won will practice more. A lot more, because he's got a big... Yeah, go ahead. I don't know what I was going to say.
I was going to point out, I've always been really impressed with Barracks' splitting, actually. Like, he always splits to the furthest patches, but they're the most optimal patches. Whoa! Barracks actually misplaced his depot and had to cancel. That's a big blunder early game. That's kind of crazy. Like, he flicked his mouse to place the depot right underneath the CC so the SCVs pop out closer to the minerals, and misplaced it by just 1 tile, and then it's like, oh god, quickly cancel, replace. So a little bit of jitters there in Barracks, costing him a bit of an early game mind game to himself. That's the hardest thing about StarCraft, is it's kind of like you're mind gaming yourself when you play this game. Do you know what's really crazy is that he actually kind of had almost the same amount of minerals as Light did, even after making that blunder. That's how good his mineral optimization and splitting is. But it's actually going to be a CC first from Light.
Oh, CC first as well. Uh-oh. Barracks makes that early mistake, and now he's going to come across the map, find out that his opponent, Light, went for a CC first, and he's not probably going to be able to punish that. Dude, this would be a real tilter, man. I hope he can get his mental game under control after that.
Well, his optimizations are so good that he didn't really feel the burn of that mistake too much. Like, his splitting and boosting were so efficient that hopefully it makes up for that deficit and he doesn't quite feel the burn and he can still execute. But I definitely don't think he is going to find a way of punishing this. Is he going to scout vertically? I doubt it, right? Like, this SCV is going top left first, I think.
He still hits the 2-minute 30 factory, even with that cancel. Probably would have been a 2:37 if he had everything going exactly his way. He is scouting in the wrong direction. Light cross map. Not going to find his opponent too quickly either. But I think he might end up finding him before Barracks gets down here. A Marine heading this direction. The Barracks is not even done yet, but with some SCV control and an early bunker, Light should be absolutely fine in this situation.
It just shows how crazy of a tournament this is that you see these pros making those kinds of blunders. And I'm sure it gives some of you guys at home a little bit of catharsis about making mistakes yourself. When you are in a little bit of a high intense situation, you've got some nerves going or anxiety and you can't quite play your absolute A game, you do tend to make these little kind of small blunders, and even the pros do it when they're on stage like this in these crazy high octane abusive situations where they have to play absolutely out of their minds to get over on their opponents. And Light actually going to be getting a pretty good scout off as well. I don't think he saw that machine shop just barely, which is something. But other than that, this has gone so Light favored.
He's got the bunker out there in the front. And he does set up the wall in behind. That extra supply depot means that vultures cannot slip by. Yeah, really no way to get any damage with this. And Light is going to be feeling fantastic. Will he follow up with a starport? Wow, a starport proxied on the map here for Barracks. This is a little bit desperate, but maybe this is exactly what he needs to start to even things out.
Right, it does give him a lot more attack potential as well. It's going to be a 2-port Wraith from Light, though. So he's going to have a lot of anti-air himself in the way of these Wraiths. I don't know if Barracks is going to be able to deal with that, especially with his starport being so close to Light. Once air superiority is achieved by Light, then what do? You can't really float this starport back home or anything. The onus is on him to attack well and maintain the position. And he does come in there with this scouting barracks, sees the academy, hasn't seen any of the starports yet, so he's going to be going straight into getting a fast dropship play, and then will probably be really heavily surprised by these 2-port Wraith follow-up from Light.
Yeah, this is going to come as a complete surprise, I think. Can Barracks actually get the vultures in, though? That's what we're hoping to see. The Wraiths, of course, if they come over here and spot this. Oh, he's actually building an add-on himself. That's crazy. Light starts an add-on, and so he won't have a Wraith at all. And this dropship's going to get in for sure with all of these Wraith, or with all of these vultures. This could be exactly what he needs. Barracks, he's going to send this in here in a moment. That dropship going to finish up any second, and there's only 1 tank, 3 Marines. 4 vultures can kill an insane amount of SCVs in this case. Yeah.
I mean, if he gets the tank over here, as well as the Wraith shooting these vultures, he'll eventually clean it up, but he will lose so many SCVs that are being targeted down. Just need 3 shots to one-shot these vultures. So with 4, even if you kill 1, you're still losing a lot to this. He's unloading prematurely, getting them right into that mineral line with the speed upgrade as well. Starting to target down these SCVs. 3 have died so far. Make that 4 now. Putting on a lot of pressure onto Light. He's going to be clearing up these vultures. Didn't actually lose too many here. The main showing is what's going to happen after the back dropship pretty much dies for free to the first Wraith. He did spot the bad news of seeing that comsat, and with seeing these early Wraith count, he must be able to sniff out that this is a 2-port Wraith build.
Yeah, he saw the 2-port Wraith, and he saw that there was an add-on with the add-on being, or the add-on researching as well. So he knows that it's 2-port Wraith. He knows that there's going to be a cloak play coming in here, but the armory, the academy is not done. The scanners are not there. Here's the eBay. He might just die. He might just straight up die here. Light is in such a good spot.
I mean, there is a Goliath coming out to buffer against this, but there's also tank support on the ground. The cloak has just now finished up. This is a nightmare situation for Barracks, because here comes 2 tanks and some Marines on the ground to buffer as well and act as some chaff here. Kind of problematic to say the least. One of those tanks are going to be falling in short order. The other Goliath is also being targeted down now. This is becoming problematic to say the least for Barracks. It's a very untenable position for him to hold. He can't really get down into natural expansion to stabilize this game state. He's having to pull the boys against these unsieged tanks, and that means so many of these SUVs are going to go down. He's getting a pretty good surround on these tanks, to be fair. Does kill one of them as a really nice surround from Barracks, making the best of a bad situation. If he can catch this other tank, it will be huge.
They will get that tank. But another Goliath goes down. These Wraiths are doing so much damage. Light, although he lost the tanks here, he's still got a huge amount of momentum. Another tank coming up. They will push back this starport once again. Finally going to get the kill on that. Barracks still keeps himself alive, at least for the time being. And he's going to sneak a base top left.
Ooh, okay. That's the kind of thing he needs to do to come back. Yeah, it's the kind of thing he has to do in this game, especially losing that starport. He loses the natural curve of his transition. Like, he can't just get a science facility, get a fast +2 timing or anything. He knows the Light will probably get his own early 3rd base as well. So the thing that makes the most sense is probably take a ninja base and then try and slowly take a natural 3rd and convince Light that you're only on 2 bases for a long time.
Reminds me of that proxied starport. It's like there's a high potential value and a high risk as well. Very risky, high potential value. It's one of those things that could actually bring you back. Whereas some of these lower risk, low potential value plays, they're just going to have you in a growing deficit against a player of the caliber of Light.
Yeah, but I think this makes the most sense though, because Light is going to get his own third up undeterred, and you probably can't easily take your own natural third without risking being busted here because of the Wraith superiority issue. So it makes sense. We're already forced to make Goliaths as Barracks. You don't want to have to play from much more of a deficit than that. He's 20 supply behind. It makes sense to go for this ninja expansion and hope for the best, although it looks like these Wraiths are on intercept course right now, checking around the entire map. And if they find that, this is going to be a little bit unfortunate for Barracks. He might even just have to tap out if that gets completely scouted.
I don't think he'll tap, but yeah, this gets scouted, and that is really rough, Barracks. Another gamble does not fully pay off. He's not even going to be able to mine enough to make this 400 minerals to pay that back, plus the SCVs that were made. So really rough situation here. Barracks might be able to make another SCV, you know, build a turret over there, but vultures will come up, and really Light has map control. He's got the superior ground army plus all of these wraiths. All the advantages are on his side, and Barracks just lost the one thing that was maybe going to keep him in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he's not GGing right now, but he was swearing and his mouth was open, like complaining about the game a minute ago. He definitely knows how in trouble he is. There's no way of easily securing a lane to his third base without being abused by Light. He's going up to save the command center with his army on the ground and just hoping that Light doesn't attack him. Like, I mean, that's a big ask right now. He is going to slowly break up here and maybe save this command center, but at what cost? His whole army is going to be out of position. Light could go for an attack if he wants to. He is trying to double expand and take the 12 o'clock position as well, but I don't know. I think Light's just going to bowl him over in a few moments here, saying I don't think there's enough on the ground for Barracks back at home to defend a tank push from Light if he commits to it.
He's having a hard time just keeping enough Goliaths out on the map to just keep something alive. Look at this. He's sending a bunch of SCVs over to top left. He's trying to take top center as well. He will target down a lot of these wraiths, but still doesn't get enough of them killed off, and the unsieged tanks and vultures of Light will push everything back, opening up this lane to send reinforcements over to the top left-hand corner, whereas, you know, not even able to really harass at all or send more army up to the top left. No real hope for Barracks any longer. He's just kind of processing his loss at the moment, I would say. Getting in here gets a couple kills, but full 30 supply disadvantage, it's only going to grow with time.
Yeah, I mean, he can tire Light out a little bit and think about what he's going to do in the next game against Light as well. There is some merit to staying in the game here and just thinking about what you're going to do in the next game, how you're going to approach things differently against Light. Light, though, looks super comfortable. The way he's sitting back in his chair and his chin is elevated like that makes me feel like he's already playing from a position of having won the game. He's just kind of going through the motions of closing out the deal, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. Just a 9-to-5 job for this guy. He's done it so many times. He's one of the most experienced guys in offline events. You can't ever count him out.
Yeah, just keeping scouts or keeping scans going inside the main base, making sure that he knows exactly what Barracks is up to, any sort of tech switch. Building more wraiths right now actually is Barracks, so he's going to have a bunch of wraiths. He's hoping to overwhelm the wraith count of Light and secure air domination for himself, but as long as Light's been diligent, continuously scanning and knowing what's going on, he's going to have turrets, he's going to have Goliaths, and he could even have Valkyries at this point coming out to start to hit. Yeah, there's the Valkyrie right there. Called it. Yeah. It's so common these days for the Terran players. Anytime that the enemy starts to build up a sizable raid count, even just a few raids, you're going to end up seeing a lot of Valkyries get made.
Yeah, they're good against Wraiths just like they're good against Mutalisks. I mean, they have the same amount of HP as Mutalisks and kind of function in a very similar way, just with more range and different damage types and what have you. So very similar in how you deal with these units cost efficiently. It's just more efficient to go for the Valkyries when the enemy has a Wraith superiority. Barracks is making a pretty good play of it. Like, he's cleared up the lane to his third base, hasn't lost the fourth base, but now is getting on top of the race by these Valkyrie superiority of Light. So Light should eventually be able to close this out utilizing the air advantage right now. There is a world in which Barracks somehow holds on and keeps this fourth base mining the entire time. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think eventually Light is going to squeeze him out of this game. There's just so much pressure on Barracks right now, and the supply deficit is going to widen more and more. It's currently at 20, and it's going to get worse.
Yeah, he can't get Goliath over here. Look at how small the lane is where he needs to walk Goliaths around. And if he walks the Goliaths in front of those tanks, I think that the tanks of Light can actually hit that. He's trying to walk along the backside here and get this Goliath over, but he can't really do it. Look, he's being blocked, and now Vultures are going to come up on this left-hand side. He's opened up the lane to start this harassment. 3 Vultures is all you need. They will one-shot these SCVs. And so he's going to have to pull those just to fight. So much damage, though, and there's even more of these units available, more Vultures available. Here comes a scan. He's going to go for one last try. The surround was pretty good with the Wraiths, but look at how powerful Valkyries are, man. That's why they build them. That's why the pro players favor Valkyries at the highest level.
Yeah, you can really see the frustration in Barracks there, kind of throwing himself around in the seat with his mouth open. He definitely isn't happy about how this game has gone. He's probably going to tap out soon, but he's just processing the loss, complaining to himself about how things have gone, and probably thinking about how he's going to deal with Light in the next game, because certainly what game plan he did have in mind is definitely not gone according to plan against Light here. Light has reacted almost perfectly to him. He is one of the best reactive Terrans in the world. Probably the best reactive Terran in the world, and that's really a huge benefit in this particular matchup, Terran versus Terran. If you're a very strong reactive player, you will have an advantage over most of your Terran opponents.
Well, literally, this game has not gone his way from start to finish. GG. Barracks taps out, and Light takes a lead in this final series of Group A. You can see Barracks going back through the replay now. He's checking over on what he missed. And like I said, from start to finish, it's been rough. He missed that depot, and really since then, nothing has gone his way.
Yeah, it really did seem like some nerves were getting the better of Barracks. It's usually not always the case. He's been in this event enough times where he's usually got his nerves under a decent amount of control, but nowhere near as much of control as someone like Light does. I mean, look at that Terminator laser focus. He's completely unfazed by the environment around him. Like, there might as well not be a crowd and a camera in his face right now.
He does seem to have that poise necessary to take it and to take a tournament win. We've seen him before, ASL champion. Barracks has yet to make it nearly that deep. Never made it to the round of 4. Never made it to a finals. He was looking so good this season. We had high hopes for him getting deep in this tournament, but his chance is not yet finished. He's just behind 1 game. Only needs to take 2 off of Light to make this comeback and secure that position. He's done it before. He can do it again. Let's see if he's got what it takes. Game number 2. It's about to start. Barracks versus Light. Here we go. Full star for what could be match point. Or what could be the final match. What is match point here for Light? Barracks and Light. This time Barracks up in top right. Light in bottom right. The positions have been reversed. Let's hope that things go a little bit more smoothly for Barracks this time. I don't want to see him get completely outclassed by Light again.
Yeah. It would be kind of a shame if he does go out in that fashion. We have seen Barracks play a lot better in general in recent times. He's definitely come a long way in his decision-making ability. He's always had very strong mechanics. It's just when he plays against some of these higher-level Terrans that have really high-level composure, some pretty cool guys in the crowd at the moment. When you're playing against players of Light's caliber, it just seems like he falls a little bit flat. Like, Light is just so good at decision making, so good at navigating whatever shenanigans you throw his way. He's going to have the correct response and will probably put himself into a more favorable game state than you anticipated, especially in these high-level offline events. Like, that's the main thing. Playing online is one thing. Playing offline where there's no holds barred, you're giving your absolute A-game strategies and mind games, that's when players like Light really start to shine.
We've talked about it a lot in this series so far, Xun, but being on stage does make a big difference. Those online tournaments where Barracks has recently been able to take on players like Light and many other fantastic Terrans, and done so with kind of surprisingly good results.
Yeah.
None of that matters in an offline tournament. It really does matter if you can perform, if you can keep your head on straight. Now, guys, as we're getting into this next game, I just want to remind you to go ahead and support this stream, support the ASL cast here, support StarCastTV through the Patreon channel. We really appreciate it, especially if you guys can come out and watch live. We understand that you guys in North America, it's quite a late show for you, but if you're in EU, if you're able to get out here and watch at 7 p.m. Korean Standard Time, we'd love to have you. And yeah, don't forget to support, guys. We really appreciate it, and it's very necessary to keep things going here.
Absolutely. We do love and appreciate all of your guys' support. If you can, it does mean the world to us. Do see a 12 gas from both players, so no one doing anything too crazy thus far. Looks like both players being super safe, making the 2 Marines as well. I've not seen a single player like only try and get away with 1 single Marine in quite some time. It's just so good at being safe against early pressure and also warding away that Barracks scout when it finally does float over.
Was that a second factory? Light's going to factory, I think.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Okay.
Well, this is gonna get wild here, guys. We got a CC coming up from Barracks. He doesn't really know what's going on right now. He's been able to scout fully. He's got his barracks floating across the map, but this is gonna get intense pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're going to see a bunker out of Barracks, but he doesn't have any reason to build that just yet. And so he might get completely caught off guard by this play. He is going to meet the Vulture in the middle of the map, and he's going to pull back for the time being. Does keep sending that Barracks over here. The faster he can find out that there's no CC, the better he will be able to prepare for this upcoming attack.
He's already got 2 shots on the Vulture for only 1 receiving shot as well. So far, so good on the ground for Light. He will be able to win out if he does manage to get a trade going. Barracks needs to rely on defender's advantage and maybe think about getting a bunker up if he can identify as his floating Barracks. Now sees that there's no CC, he knows that what's happening, but doesn't matter. He's already lost 1 of these Vultures, so that means he can't get the escape kill on Light's Vulture, and Light getting the better end of the stick will now kind of put a pincer maneuver on this other low HP Vultures. A really great play here from Light, wedging between the forces of Barracks. This is such a high level execution from him. He does get one of his Vultures caught though by the SCVs. Barracks can still hold on with good SCV blocking and repair.
Not getting the repair going, but getting some really good blocking so far. Ooh, he probably should have tried to catch that Vulture just a moment ago. He had this around, but instead went for the repair. Kind of a desperation move. The Vulture was already very low, and it dies before the repair can even start. Now Light's right here inside the natural with the edge, with the momentum to push back Barracks. Barracks built a supply depot here in this natural as well, so giving himself an even tougher position to work with. This Marine finally goes down. Those Marines make so much difference in the total DPS that can come out from these units. Gonna go ahead and try to target one more Vulture. 2 more arrive. Oh gosh, Barracks is really having a hard time of it now. He's dropping lower and lower and lower in supply as Light pushes forward. Barracks is going to be shoved all the way back. And I think he may have it here. Light is going to take us out of this series and send himself to the round of 8 most likely. He's almost unbeatable at this point as he comes up the ramp.
He's playing absolutely insane right now. It's such high-level execution from Light to dismantle Barracks in that fashion, baiting the Vultures to chase him on the left and then driving a wedge of his reinforcements to catch the Vulture out on the map like that and put him into a numerical deficit so easily that he doesn't even have defender's advantage to work with anymore. It's going to be a repair on this Vulture, but it doesn't really matter. Going to have to tap out. Light is going to be joining us in the round of 8 alongside Soulkey. These are the 2 players who should be making out of the group, but we really did think that Barracks was going to have a stronger showing. Light has not been nearly as dominant as of late as he has been in the past, but he puts that jacket on with style and walks off the stage feeling like an absolute G right now.
Dang. Guys, TVT, we talked about it from the beginning. It is so fast in the modern era. 2025 TVT is like ZVZ.
Zug versus Zug.
Yeah. It's wild how quickly it's going these days. We're going to get a shot here of the attack.
This is beautiful.
The bait from Light to go for this fight. Pulling these units over to the side, and he's still got the kill there. Crazy good stuff from him.
Look at this. He knows that they're too far away to get back in safety in time. These other 2 Vultures are going to be on intercept core. If he has a couple of Marines to body block and soak up some damage as well, he knows the Vulture's low HP, just targets down those Marines, and he just gets in there 3 on 2. You can't do anything besides perfectly blocking with the SCVs and then doing a repair after the first Vulture goes down, but he couldn't execute that to perfection. The Marines were still alive, doing way too much damage. Those Marines actually have really insanely high DPS if you can't just snipe them, so really problematic for Barracks to have to deal with this, and he just falls apart at the seams to Light's domination.
A rough finals, or a final series here for Barracks. Damn, this is not what I was expecting at all, Xun, but like we said, time and time again, online is certainly different than offline. These online events where Barracks is dominating, it just doesn't mean squat when you can't perform at the ASL. This is everything. This is the Super Bowl for these StarCraft players. Doesn't matter if you can win in a scrimmage. If you can't win in the Super Bowl, nobody's going to cheer for you. And Light, this guy, he is absolutely able to pull it out when it matters. He busts through. Once again, we're going to have Light in the round of 8.
I mean, it's not that surprising. He's just been playing out of his mind today. We did actually kind of favor Barracks in this group stage just because Light has been a little bit slouched in his performance as of late, but most of that bad performance has come from online. When it comes to online, there's just such a wealth of experience he can draw on, and he always plays like a cool cucumber no matter what, and I think that's the main advantage he has over some of these up-and-coming players. They're just a little bit more on edge of their seat, and just a little bit too many nerves coming through there for Barracks, despite being such a high mechanics-orientated player. That Light can always seem to get the better of them just because of how calm and collected he is. He's always so composed.
He really is very composed, and you can see him here on the stage. This is just another stepping stone for him towards that finals, where he can maybe get a rematch versus Soulkey. He didn't do very well against Soulkey in that winner's match, but perhaps he can work his way into another opportunity to try his hand at beating Soulkey in the finals of this ASL. It's just going to be a long road to that point. We've got so many games coming up, guys. Tomorrow, another ASL group. We had another potential 11 games, and it's going to be a fantastic day of StarCraft, guys. Definitely don't miss out on that one. No more TVT, though. We're pretty much done with that.
Well, actually, not necessarily. I mean, that Sharp and Speed are in that group.
Right.
Depending on who loses and who wins, I mean, you're going to see at least one TVT of Sharp versus Speed initially in a best of one, and then maybe no more TVT because you've got Sharp, Speed, Jaedong, and Best in that next group. It's going to be crazy. Like my brain is telling me as well that even though it should be maybe Jaedong and Best breaking out of that group, it probably won't be. I have imagining it's going to be like either Sharp and Best or Speed and Best, something like that. I just have a feeling that Jaedong's not going to make it out as much as I'd like him to.
I haven't seen Sharp compete for a while. I know that he's been doing a lot of university content. If this was last season, I really did cheer for Sharp very hard, and I expected a lot from him. Last season, he was great. I would expect him to get through, but this season, I'm not sure. Speed has advanced a lot. He's improved a lot, and Best is looking great as well. So I have a feeling that we're going to have Best and Speed get through in that group, but that's just my tentative predictions for right now.
Yeah, that was my original prediction, was Best and Speed. I want to keep my heart open to Sharp. He's a very strong, capable player as well. He did come second place in the last ASL, getting knocked out by Soulkey 4-1. Was a little bit of a disappointing finals for him, but has come a long way. It's been a long time since we've seen a player up and coming like him go that deep into a tournament like this. Maybe he can make it work. He's actually kind of a bit of an unusual seed. We certainly didn't expect someone like him to be one of these round of 16 seeds, but he is currently the top dog in that regard. Let's see if he can maintain that mantle going through to the round of 8. But yeah, Speed, Jaedong, and Best up against him is going to be a very tough group for Sharp.
Yeah, that's a lot of talent in one group, but honestly, all of these round of 16 groups are scary. They're so full of talent, chopped full of great players. There's a ton of awesome Brood War players in the 2025 meta. There's nobody who's gotten through that doesn't deserve to be here. They're all super strong and confident.
Right.
Just an awesome round of 16, guys, and so hard to call.
Yeah, I mean, my heart is set on Speed and Best making it through. Those are the two guys I really want and expect to make it through. I've got a lot of love for Jaedong and Sharp. Jaedong a lot longer than Sharp. I pretty much love all 4 of these guys, but for some reason, my mind and heart are aligning a lot more with Speed and Best right now.
Again, it's probably based, like me, on online results, though. How are those online results going to transfer into this ASL? We're going to have to wait and see. Take a wait and see approach on that, guys. We're just about at the end of this cast. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow, the live cast of Group B is going to be a lot of fun. Don't miss out on it. Again, support the channel through Patreon or come on into the live stream and support with gems or subscriptions here on Soup. That's about it. Anything else to say, Xun, before we go?
No, I've been Xun with me saying SC. We've had a great fun time bringing you these games, and we'll look forward to coming back tomorrow and bringing you Group B with Sharp versus Speed, and then Jaedong versus Best in match number 1. Thanks, guys.